Before passing away, Leah's mother left her a dying wish. When she got married, she must marry a remarkably handsome man. Leah quickly made this her ultimate goal. But when she grew up, she was shocked to learn that she was to become the 12th wife of an aging emperor. She immediately planned to escape to avoid this forced marriage. However, when she discovered that her husband was an emperor so handsome that flowers paled in comparison and the moon hid in shame, Leah fell in love at first sight and willingly followed him. Everyone, please follow Lisa Manhua to watch this captivating story. My mother, my idol, my everything, was sitting in a dark alley, seemingly out of her mind, laughing and saying, "Leah, my daughter, my precious, haha." The little girl sitting next to her, seeing this, pleaded, "Mother, I beg you, please come back to your senses, please." Suddenly, her mother smiled and instructed, "Listen, Ya." Then she quickly added, "Your husband must be a remarkably handsome man." As soon as she finished speaking, she coughed up blood. Seeing this, Leah anxiously cried out, calling her mother repeatedly. "Mother." Before her final breath, her mother prayed, "Promise me you'll live happily, okay?" With these words, she passed away. The little girl cried her heart out, "Mother." Leah painfully called out to her deceased mother, "Mother." And so, my mother's dying wish. The little girl decided to honor her mother's dying wish. Yes, Leah's eyes hardened with determination as she made that promise. "I swear I'll marry the most handsome man." And that promise became the biggest goal in my life. Back in the present, Leah was eating when she suddenly spat out all the meat in her mouth, which stuck to the face of the man in front of her. She stammered, "Wait, what? What did you just say?" He immediately repeated, "You will become the emperor's 12th concubine." But wait, wasn't that last week's news? At this, Leah spat out the wine she was drinking. Spraying it all over his face, she stammered again, "What? No, wait, what did you just say?" His expression seemed accustomed to this. So he repeated, "I said, you will become the empress of the Fritten Kingdom. Yes, this is my life now. Believe it or not, that old man sitting over there is my father, Duke Uskal. Shortly after my mother passed away, the Duke suddenly appeared in the slums and brought me to live with the Uskal family in the Haroon Kingdom. But that glamorous life didn't last long. The Duke has been addicted to gambling for years, and the Duchess and her daughter, Haley, made no effort to hide their disdain for me. And so, I was neglected for a whole 12 years. This really made Leah uncomfortable. Then, she questioned, repeating what the Duke had said earlier, "Didn't you say last time that I had to become the Emperor's mistress?" Why suddenly? Before Leah could finish, a woman slammed her glass on the table and answered loudly, "Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. Just when I thought I was finally useful, they suddenly changed their plans. Honestly, it's such a headache. And this unpleasant-looking woman is the Duchess Uskal." The Duchess criticized, "What a waste of time." The Duke suddenly cleared his throat and announced, "Ahem, this is the Emperor's decree. Just do it." Finally, she angrily realized everything. "Oh, I get it. You're out of money, aren't you?" Despite thinking this, she forced a smile and accepted, of course, I guess so." Then, the Duchess asked the Duke, "So, now that it's the Fritten Emperor and not that old emperor, you're happier, right?" He looked confused and said, Hearing this, Leah felt a bit uneasy. "Yeah, how fun. The Fritten Kingdom is known as the Land of Ice, where winter lasts 9 months of the year. It's the only kingdom that has to defeat not only ferocious monsters, but also dark dragons. In recent years, they've been expanding their territory by conquering neighboring countries. And the king who rules that kingdom is known as the bloodthirsty war demon." At this moment, the young lady, Haley, spoke up first and warned, "You're not thinking of running away from the marriage and not marrying the emperor, are you?" Hearing this, Leah answered affirmatively, "What? How could I dare do such a thing? Really, Haley?" And this girl is Haley, the daughter of the Duke and Duchess. Although Leah smiled on the surface and pretended to be very obedient, she was secretly plotting in her heart, "Yeah, go on, say whatever you want. If you think I'll obediently marry him, you're dead wrong. I've been planning this ever since you wanted to marry me off to that old man." Just as she was feeling smug, the Duke suddenly said, "Oh, one more thing. The wedding is in 5 days." This really startled her. She screamed in fright, Leah ran back to her room, crying, tears streaming down her face. Woo. As soon as the maid saw her burst through the door crying, she immediately asked with concern, Miss, what's wrong? Leah struggled to announce the worst news of the day. Millie, it's bad. I'm getting married in 5 days. Millie was stunned by this news and let out a gasp. She finished explaining the latter part about her fiancé to the startled emperor. The more Millie listened, the more shocked she became, finding it hard to believe. What? That madman. Leah quickly supported Millie, who nearly fainted after hearing the news. Then, not forgetting her instructions, she urged, yes, quickly give this to Robbie. The faster, the better. Millie was incredibly dizzy, but Leah continued her incessant instructions. Oh, and also check the jewelry box in the closet. Take everything out and sell it for money. Millie still didn't understand what was happening and quickly stopped her. Wait a minute, Mississippi. What's going on? Suddenly questioned like this, Leah quickly smiled and reiterated her plan to escape the Duke's mansion. Oh, didn't I tell you before? I've been planning to run away for a long time. Millie was stunned by this sudden news. What? At this moment, Leah happily thought about her escape plan, chattering excitedly. Come on, Millie, think about it. Leah was very confident in herself, declaring, me, the great Leah? How could I ever marry a man? I don't even know. That's right. The only goal in my life is to fulfill my mother's dying wish, to marry a super handsome husband. Leah, without a shred of dignity, continued to fawn over strikingly handsome men. Millie, look, an angel just walked by. Millie was bewildered by her mistress's behavior. That's just an ordinary person, miss. Thanks to my mother's dying wish, I've been searching for the perfect face. She wasn't just like this with people on the street. She was even like this with her tutor, causing him to helplessly remind her, could you please focus on today's lesson? Being caught in her infatuation embarrassed her. Oh, of course. I'm a model student. And just like that, I gradually grew up becoming a true face-obsessed fangirl. After listening, Millie hesitantly replied, oh, I understand. Thinking that Millie understood her, Leah happily ran over. Ha, you get me. Then, with an extremely trusting look, she grabbed Millie's hand. All right, Millie, I'm counting on you. Suddenly being trusted like this made Millie feel the weight of the situation. Then, having no other choice, she accepted. All right, I'll definitely do it. Night, at the Duke's mansion. Leah, wearing a cloak, looked down from a high vantage point. Is it that place? Millie had previously given her information for her escape. Mr. Robbie said to meet at the ginkgo tree on Laurel Hill at midnight. Leah thought her plan was about to succeed, so she was very excited and expectant. Yes, there's still plenty of time. I just need to get going. But just then, she heard some noises and looked over. She saw 2 butlers passing by, so Leah quickly hid. The 2 butlers conversed in surprise. Wait, isn't the wedding supposed to be in 5 days? How would I know? Hurry up, everyone's urgently preparing. Hey, you there. Isn't the food ready yet? Leah panicked behind the door, unable to understand what was going on. What are they doing here at this hour? If I stay here any longer, I'll lose my chance to escape. As she was thinking, she looked up and saw a room full of gold-plated items. Leah's eyes lit up, and she excitedly thought about taking it. Money, I certainly need it. Money and beauty are always the most worthwhile investments. They're actually using such expensive silk as a carpet. How extravagant. Just as she grabbed the gold, a shadow appeared at the door, and the door quickly opened. A person covered from head to toe walked into the room. The Duke continuously flattered him beside him. The Duke's mansion is usually even more lavishly decorated than this. Your appearance at this time is truly unexpected. We never thought His Majesty the Emperor would come at this hour. The Emperor, hearing these words, remained silent. He continued to flatter him, sweating profusely. Please wait a moment, Your Majesty. We'll prepare a room for you right away. But suddenly, the Emperor stopped him. Wait. Then he looked at the lump in front of him and said, it seems we have another guest who arrived before us. Leah was lying under the blanket, crying and repeatedly muttering, don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe. The Emperor asked, who is it? Come out now. Hearing this, she still refused to leave the blanket, slowly standing up, completely wrapped from head to toe. Then she lifted the blanket, revealing a guilty expression. Please forgive me. You see, the truth is, at this moment, the Emperor also took off his hat and cloak and commanded, quickly state your full name and true identity. The Emperor's handsome face was revealed. This made Leah's heart skip a beat. It was love at first sight. The Duke, seeing her appear here, turned pale and continuously questioned Leah. Leah, what are you doing here at this hour? Why are you dressed like this? Hearing this, the Emperor asked in surprise, did you say Leah? As he looked over, he saw Leah vigorously fling the blanket up. Then she spread it directly at the emperor's feet and shyly greeted him. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Emperor Fritten." The emperor stopped in his tracks as he watched her lift her skirt and curtsy in a very formal manner. "I rushed over as soon as I heard you'd arrived at the mansion, so my appearance is a little. Anyway, I am Leah Askell, the second daughter of Duke Askell of the Haroon Kingdom, your future wife, your lovely bride." Leah winked and blew a kiss, looking very practiced as she spoke. This made the Duke, standing behind her, want to collapse and faint. Oh, the emperor was looking at Leah as if she were a madwoman. Leah, however, was very pleased with herself and called out to her mother in heaven, "Mother, did you see? I finally married a super handsome man." After that greeting, the two stared at each other in silence, the atmosphere stiff. The Duke suddenly fainted. Leah hurried over to him, putting on a pitiful, maidenly expression. "Oh my goodness." But this sudden approach startled the emperor. She continued, unabashed, "You're so handsome." This left him completely bewildered, thinking, who is this woman? Rewind to 12 hours earlier. The emperor had already arrived at the reception hall of the Haroon Kingdom's royal palace. The emperor quickly got to the point. "Your Majesty of Haroon, I've come to take responsibility for the prince's actions." Upon seeing him, the prince stammered, blaming the previous golden flower pine incident on, "It was my F.A. No, it was your Majesty who ordered it." The king, sitting next to him, paled and quickly stopped him. "No, you idiot." Seeing the emperor's extremely displeased expression, the prince yelped in fright. "Oh." The king hurriedly intervened. Wait a minute." Then the king began to ramble. "I understand the importance of the golden flower to Fritten, so, in her room, it really wasn't intentional. Anyway, because we made a mistake, we will offer food as an apology. What do you think?" The emperor grew angrier with every word, radiating a murderous aura. "A mistake." The king, sweating profusely, hurriedly continued, "Also marriage, don't you need a spouse? I happen to know a very lovely young lady." The emperor's gaze was like that of a demon. Sure enough, the prince yelped again in fear. "Oh," but the king quickly touted the girl's merits. She possesses a special ability." This piqued his curiosity. "A special ability." The king stammered in confirmation. "Yes, that's right. A rare and extraordinary ability lies dormant within her, which will bring great prosperity to Fritten." The emperor quickly refused. Not interested, but the attendant behind him whispered, "Just accept it, your Majesty. You know you need a fiancé. You've spent all your time on the battlefield and have no heir yet, which has many nobles worried about the royal line ending." Hearing these words, the emperor, unable to refute, turned around and accepted the offer with displeasure. "TSK, sly old man." He eavesdropped on our conversation. Then he left everything to his attendant. "Do as you will. I don't care if she has a special ability or not." The attendant quickly obeyed. "Yes, your Majesty." After seeing the emperor leave, the prince hesitantly asked the king, "F.A. Father, is that true? Is she really Duke Askell's daughter?" The king immediately warned him in a stern voice. "Quiet. I told you to always address me as your Majesty." Suddenly, the king's expression turned scornful. Special ability. That's all in the past. If she's already had her coming-of-age ceremony and still shows no signs, it means it will never awaken. TSK, a waste who can't even protect a single golden flower. The king quickly left, not forgetting to scold the prince. "Disappear from my sight for now." The prince, full of resentment, stood there and obeyed. "Yes, your Majesty." After finishing the discussion, the emperor left the Haroon palace and then asked with difficulty, "What?" "It will take a month for the bride to arrive." The attendant confirmed. "Yes, it may actually take longer. She needs time to prepare before moving to Fritten." He was irritated and wanted to confirm another matter. "Then what about the original conquest plan?" The attendant quickly replied, "That had to be abruptly canceled." The emperor thought for a moment, realizing something, and then he reined in his horse, blocking the attendant. "William, don't avoid my question." William, seeing his sudden action, hurriedly asked, "I apologize, where are you going?" The emperor asked, "Is it really necessary to wait until the bride arrives in Fritten?" "So, I came directly here." But upon his arrival, he was met with Leah's excessive affection, which made him very uncomfortable. She kept covering her mouth, endlessly praising him. "How can someone be so handsome? I'm going crazy. What did you eat to become so handsome?" Seeing Leah talking so much, the emperor hurriedly stopped her. "No, wait." But before he could speak, she leaned in and chattered on. Is this the legendary cold and arrogant type? Do I like this type? I just realized it. Oh my goodness, is this fate? The Emperor felt extremely uncomfortable and stopped her loudly. Miss, please. He suddenly blushed and grabbed her, saying, hey. This startled Leah. Oh. She then quickly backed away and apologized awkwardly. The Emperor, watching the incongruity between Leah's expression and words, couldn't understand her at all. She clearly wanted to run away immediately, yet she still had the audacity to flatter him. So he patiently asked, your name is Leah Uskul, correct? Leah answered firmly, yes, it is my name. The Emperor began to ask, you started packing your luggage as soon as you heard I was coming. Leah stammered a disingenuous reply. Oh, yes, of course. Leah truly hadn't expected this. She couldn't believe she could lie so smoothly. He crossed his arms and asked confidently, so, you're ready to leave for Fritton with me now, right? Hearing this, Leah suddenly hesitated. She had understood what leave now, this very moment meant. Then, with overflowing emotion, Leah declared, of course. Isn't it obvious? With a husband like you, I would follow you even to hell. The Emperor felt a chill run down his spine at Leah's words and actions. Oh, I see. At this moment, the Duke came to his senses and scolded Leah. What shameless thing are you doing? Stop talking nonsense. The carriage won't arrive for 5 days. Just wait. But the Emperor immediately interrupted. No, there's no need for that. It would be rude to make the lady wait if she's so eager. As he spoke, he extended his hand, startling her. The Emperor, reaching out to take Leah's hand, formally introduced himself. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Miklock Fritton, Emperor of Fritton. I've heard you possess a special ability. I'm very pleased to see you so enthusiastic. We shall depart at dawn. Miklock quickly kissed Leah's hand, thinking to himself, she's a hopeless romantic. She agreed excitedly, yes. This made the Duke, standing to the side, unabashedly uncomfortable. That night, as Miklock stood by the window, he looked at himself in the mirror. Then he recalled Leah's exaggerated praise, of course. Isn't it obvious? With a husband like you, I would follow you even to hell. Thinking about this, he asked himself, am I really that handsome? As he admired himself, William suddenly burst through the door, shouting, Your Majesty. Seeing that Miklock had shattered the mirror, he asked in confusion, what are you doing? He quickly denied it, nothing. What is it? He then approached, persistently questioning, you're being too reckless. Do you really think a noble lady of the Empire can withstand more than 10 days of bumpy horseback riding? Miklock, perplexed, replied calmly, oh, if she gets too tired, she can faint at any time. William was immediately driven mad by his inhumane thought. Your Majesty, what are you saying? Miklock, unconcerned, looked back at the door he had damaged. Then, suddenly remembering something, he asked William, where did you say the second floor of the West Castle is? He was annoyed at being constantly interrupted. You're changing the subject again. He then started nagging again. As I just said, the second floor of the West Castle is Lady Leah Uskul's. Seeing Miklock disappear just like that, William was stunned. Your Majesty. He ran through the hallway, trying to find Leah. Leah Uskul, who just moments ago was sweet-talking about following me to hell, now can't bear to be near me for a moment. Millie, upon seeing Miklock appear, paled and quickly stopped him. Wait, Your Majesty. When he flung open her door, his face instantly flushed with anger. He saw a man with his hand on Leah's shoulder, asking, what's going on here? Seeing Miklock appear, she was startled. Yo, Your Majesty. He asked furiously, like a husband who had caught his wife cheating, what is the meaning of this? In the Duke's mansion, Leah sat on the bed, cowering and looking outwards. Just then, Millie walked in and hesitantly called out, Mississippi. Leah brightened up as soon as she saw Millie. Oh, Millie. Millie's eyes were filled with tears of worry. What are we going to do? She didn't know either, but she came over to comfort her. Well, there's nothing we can do at the moment. We have no choice but to go to Fritton. Millie sadly hugged Leah. Oh, I didn't think we'd be found out so soon. You must have been so scared, Mississippi. Misunderstanding, Leah was a little confused. Then she stammered, Then she remembered her past sins. Leah lowered her eyes and remained silent. After a while, she said, Millie, I have to go to Fritton no matter what. But if you want, you can stay here. Millie was startled by these words. What do you mean, miss? Millie cried, not wanting to leave Leah. Are you saying I'm useless now? Mississippi Leah quickly denied it. You silly girl, Fritton is a cold place with snow all year round, and you're very afraid of the cold. But Millie didn't care about that. I don't care. I'll do better. Please take me with you. Finally, Leah had no choice but to agree. You silly girl. This warmth, Millie. Millie was about to say, Miss, if I didn't have you. She was overcome with emotion. At that moment, Millie saw a dark figure pressed against the window and screamed Leah's name in terror. A dead person. Seeing Leah lying unconscious on the floor, Millie panicked. You coward, she yelled. How dare you touch Miss Leah? I won't let you get away with this. She slumped to the floor, shaking, and thought, no, it's all my fault. Then, Millie grabbed a lamp, imagining herself transforming into a strong man, rushing to protect Leah. I will avenge Miss Leah, she thought. Helplessly lying on the floor, she whispered, it's my fault. Just then, a man's voice called out, stopping her. Wait, it's me. Please open the door. Hearing the voice, both of them quickly came to their senses, albeit groggily. Huh, it's Robbie. He was the eldest son of Earl Stone, Robbie Stone. When I was stranded in a foreign land, he was the first person to lend me a helping hand. I was born into a ducal family, but I didn't receive a proper education. With Robbie's help, I secretly audited classes, carefully avoiding my family's discovery. Over time, he became a very close friend. The two quickly sat on the edge of the bed, listening to Leah's explanation. That's why I couldn't make it to our meeting place. Robbie fell silent after hearing this, understanding her situation. Seeing his expression, she felt guilty. Yes, you must have waited a long time. I am sorry, Robbie. Leah thought to herself, I'll never tell anyone that I fell in love with my husband at first sight, and that's why I decided to stay. Suddenly, Robbie grabbed her hand, urging her to run away again. It's all right, Leah. It's not too late. Let's run away together. Leah was a little confused by his words. Huh, run away together. She quickly reminded him, I only asked you to lend me a carriage from your shop. He suddenly interrupted her, I know, but the moment I read your letter, I decided to run away with you. How could I let you go alone? Robbie said, his expression filled with sorrow. Then he added, it was bad enough they wanted to marry you off to that old emperor, but now it's Fritton, Leah. You'll freeze to death as soon as you get there. Seeing Robbie's anxious face, like a worried puppy, Leah couldn't help but laugh. You silly fool, people live there too. Then she hugged him and comforted him. Robbie, I still have to go. Don't worry, I'll write to you. Robbie, heartbroken, didn't want to leave Leah. He continued to plead with Leah, please don't go. But just as they were embracing and pouring out their hearts to each other, Miklock's deep voice questioned, what's going on here? Only then did Leah have time to look up, and she was stunned. Your Majesty. His eyes were filled with intense resentment and interrogation. What is the meaning of this? Seeing Miklock's arrival, Leah panicked and tried to explain. Your Majesty, please let me explain. This is all. But he ignored her, walking over and grabbing Robbie by the throat, making him cough painfully. Leah worriedly tried to stop him. Your Majesty, what are you doing? Her face quickly turned pale. When she saw the cruel look in Miklock's eyes as he looked down at her, those red eyes, truly befitting the name of the bloodthirsty war demon. It actually thrilled Leah, but when she heard Robbie gasping for air, she became frightened. Robbie, Leah quickly intervened. Your Majesty, this is Mr. Robbie Stone, the eldest son of Earl Stone of the Haroon Kingdom. Then she explained to Miklock, he's a childhood friend. Because I left so suddenly, he came to say goodbye. He scoffed, unconvinced. At this hour. She immediately elaborated, the departure was just canceled, so I invited him over. So please forgive him. Miklock still didn't believe her. A young lady having him climb through the window like a thief. She loudly offered a very reasonable explanation. It's very late now. It would be troublesome if he went through the main entrance and woke everyone up. This explanation clearly displeased Miklock. He gritted his teeth and made a TSK sound. Then with a wave of his hand, he threw Robbie heavily to the floor, causing Leah to cry out in concern, Robbie. Worriedly, she said to him repeatedly, Robbie, thank you for coming all this way, but I think you should leave now. Robbie, pale-faced, was still worried about Leah. But cough. She quickly pushed him toward the exit. Go quickly. Robbie still refused. But finally, he gritted his teeth and glared resentfully at Miklock, making Miklock so angry he wanted to lunge at Robbie again and strangle him. But Leah quickly interjected with sweet words. I will live happily with my handsome husband. Take care, Robbie. Finally, Robbie had to accept with a gloomy expression. All right, Leah, if that's what you want. Hearing these words, Miklock turned around excitedly. Before leaving, he didn't forget to say, write to me, Leah. Goodbye. She also bid farewell, breaking out in a cold sweat. Take care, Robbie. McLock, behind her, watched Robbie with murderous eyes. When he saw the obstacle leave, he quickly approached. Then, with a disbelieving expression, he asked, "Are you saying you were just saying goodbye to your childhood friend?" Under this pressure, Leah could only laugh and admit, of course, at a time like this, that's the only reason I would see a friend. But remembering Robbie's reluctant expression, McLock wasn't convinced. It seemed a bit too intimate. He glared jealously, even though they weren't involved. So, as long as someone's handsome, it's okay. Leah muttered, sweating and bewildered. Yes. McLock turned away without another word, then added, "Regardless, even if he's a childhood friend, you should keep your distance from other men. You're the queen of Fritton now, in everyone's eyes." Leah was confused. "What do you mean by keep my distance?" He blushed suddenly, clearing his throat with a cough. Then he clarified, "Physical contact, like just now, like that hug." She looked up, her face a mask of confusion. "A hug." McLock nodded in confirmation. Panic set in. Leah thought, "So if I can't do that with other men, does that mean I can hug you?" She asked, her voice laced with a strange confidence. "So I can hug you then?" McLock turned away, muttering, "As long as it's not with other men, anything else is fine. I was going to go back and kill him later, but I suppose I'll avoid the trouble." Leah was bewildered. "Kill him?" Seeing her blank expression, McLock asked, "Do you even know why you're marrying me?" She began to explain. 2 months ago, the Prince of Haroon was arrested for illegally attempting to cut down Fritton's national treasure, the Golden Pine. Leah gasped as she realized the reason for her marriage. "Huh." McLock continued, "We waited 2 months for compensation, but received no response. So, I came to settle the matter directly, and the Emperor offered your hand in marriage as recompense." Leah finally understood. "Oh, should I be grateful I at least escaped that creepy old man?" Tilting her head, she simply said, "Oh, I see." Beside her, McLock replied, "Right?" Just then, he looked around, taking in Leah's living quarters. "But isn't she the second daughter of the Duke of Uskal? A duke's daughter, living in a room worse than a servant's. If she has to live in a place like this," McLock suddenly declared, seemingly out of nowhere, "the morning air is quite nice. No need to wait for sunrise." This left Leah completely baffled. "Yes," he continued, "if you have nothing else to do right now," then proposed, "Shall we elope?" Stunned by the request from such a strikingly handsome man, Leah stammered, "Elope." McLock, blushing, admitted, "Yes, because we've already packed our luggage. We can leave now." Before he could get Leah's agreement, William burst through the door to stop him. "No," he scolded, his voice frantic. "Your Majesty, so you were here. The sun will rise soon. Please wait until morning and leave with the knights." "Why are you in such a hurry to leave now? Everyone is tired, and we still have to." Uncomfortable with the interruption, McLock grabbed Leah's hand and pulled her away, causing her to stutter, "Why, your Majesty." Then, the two jumped out the window, startling Leah into a terrified scream. Millie, fearing for her mistress's life, cried out, "Mississippi." McLock, now safely on the ground, called up, "If you can, come with us and explain everything to the Duke of Uskal." Leah called back, "Wait," but he seemed to have run out of patience. "Can't wait any longer. I'm going." Millie, her face pale, rushed over. "Mississippi." Millie quickly looked down to assess the situation. She saw McLock riding away on horseback with Leah in his arms. Millie suddenly called out to William, "Hey." He turned around at being addressed. "Yes, yes," Millie pleaded, "I need your help." William argued with Millie, "Hey, they'll only get further away at this rate. Move." But Millie stood her ground. "How many times do I have to say it? If you take me with you, I'll prepare a horse for you right away." Exasperated, he retorted, "Say something more reasonable." Then William quickly added, "I'm the Emperor's closest guard." Rather than wasting time arguing, "I should," but Millie was undeterred. "That's why you need to take me. I don't care if you see me as baggage." Millie's gaze seemed to sway him, and he closed his eyes, making his choice. Finally, he relented and demanded, "I plan to go as fast as possible. I'm made like you won't be able to keep up. I'll call you a carriage, so goodbye." But Millie pulled a rope from her pocket, her eyes gleaming. She asked for confirmation, "As long as I don't fall off, it's fine, right?" Seeing this, William felt all his energy drain away. "Ha!" He finally agreed and instructed, "Go get a horse." Millie accepted cheerfully. "Yes, Your Majesty." Then, the two mounted the horse together. Before leaving, William didn't forget to inform the Duke and Duchess. His Majesty the Emperor has left with Miss Leah. I will quickly follow and support, so please don't worry too much. The Duchess accepted the news. Oh, I understand. Their apparent lack of concern for Leah baffled him. What kind of reaction is that? Then William spurred the horse on. Hiya, yeah. The sudden burst of speed caused Millie, unprepared, to lurch. Oh, wait. Millie, frightened, clung tightly to him, screaming, ah. This uninvited embrace caused William's face to flush red at being held by a girl. But when Millie complained, wait, I haven't tied the rope yet, it quickly frustrated him. Huh, seriously, I can't go full speed at all. Meanwhile, Leah continued to complain and criticize. Oh my God, she felt unwell after riding for so long. I feel like I'm going to throw up, and my back hurts so much. How many hours have we been riding? God, I'm so hungry. The two had been riding nonstop for 20 hours. Seeing Leah's frustrated face, Mick Locke felt bad. Are you still worried about that little mouse? She quickly feigned confusion. Ha, what mouse? After a moment, Leah quickly understood. Oh, he was talking about Robbie. I'm just so tired. She immediately denied it. No, it's just that my whole body aches. At this moment, Leah thought of Millie. Millie, she's my only maid. We were supposed to go to Friend together. When mentioning Millie, Leah couldn't help but smile happily. She's a warm child. Even though she's afraid of the cold, she still said she wanted to come with me. She's always helped me without complaint since we were little. But now I've left her without a word, and I'm worried about her. Hearing these words, Mick Locke was a little curious. Aren't you worried about yourself? Leah asked, confused me. Worried. Finally, he had to let Millie go with Leah to Fritton. Forget it. I'll send a carriage, and you can take your maid. Hearing this, she jumped up excitedly. Really? Just then, the horse suddenly swayed. So Mick Locke immediately held Leah to protect her. Careful. When she realized the two were too close, Leah said, Your Majesty. Finally, a hungry stomach growl sounded, making Mick Locke feel embarrassed, so he decided, let's take a break. The two quickly lit a bonfire in a clearing. When she tasted a bite of what Mick Locke made, Leah was truly surprised. Oh, she imagined herself praising Mick Locke's cooking. It's really delicious, Your Majesty. Are you also good at housework? Then he would shyly accept the praise. Haha, you're making me blush. But in reality, the food was so bad that Leah had to spit it all out, but still had to praise. This is really delicious. Mick Locke, beside her, also knew his cooking wasn't good, so he urged, you don't have to force yourself to eat it. In the end, the two ate in awkward silence. Leah suddenly worriedly cared about Mick Locke. Your Majesty, are you all right? He didn't understand. What do you mean? Leah began to explain her previous question. I know this was the Emperor's proposal, but I also know that you don't want this marriage either. Mick Locke fell silent when he heard this, so she continued of course, even if you don't want to, there's nothing I can do. But he didn't care about that, instead asking about Leah's feelings. What about you? Do you want to marry me? When she heard this, Leah couldn't hide her shy satisfaction. Well, isn't it obvious? Her expression and words at this moment made Mick Locke's heart flutter. Leah kept sighing inwardly. Of course I'm happy. I mean, look at him. He's so handsome that I forgot how to speak for a few seconds. Suddenly, he jumped up. I'll go away now. I'm going to take a bath. Seeing Mick Locke leave so quickly, Leah was startled. In such a hurry. But even after an hour, he still hadn't returned, leaving Leah sitting alone, bored and lonely. When will he come back? Looking at the food in the pot made her want to vomit. I just want to get through this quickly. I can't take it anymore. I'll suffocate if I stay any longer. I should leave. As she walked, Leah heard the gurgling sound of a river. Yeah, there's the sound of water. There must be a river nearby. I'm going to take a quick bath. But just then, she discovered, in this river, Mick Locke was bathing naked. This led Leah to observe from afar, inevitably arousing her extreme fascination with the man. But she quickly comforted herself. No, Leah, calm down. Peeping is a crime. But when Leah saw something liquid sticking to Mick Locke's hand, she was surprised. Then she curiously approached, wanting to observe what was in his palm. Hearing footsteps, Mick Locke immediately looked back vigilantly. Then, he launched a hidden weapon, which grazed Leah's face. He asked gloomily, who's there? She was scared to death. I'm done for. At this moment, Leah came out crying and apologized. I'm sorry. Mick Locke froze as soon as he saw her. She explained with no, I didn't follow you on purpose. I just brought the soup over because it was so bad. Oh no, because it was cold, so I was gonna dump it. I heard the sound of water, so I followed it, and then I got here. Seeing Leah like this, he didn't pursue the matter further. Forget it. Then he requested, could you excuse me for a moment? Leah just said oh upon hearing this. When they returned to the camp, both sat down, not daring to look at each other. Leah worriedly stammered, Your Majesty, then wanted to ask her question, there's something I want to ask you. How did you get the scar on your hand? Suddenly asked this, Mick Locke was startled. He looked at the scar on his hand and quickly explained, when I was born and inherited the throne. Recalling the scene of his mother's death, he could only helplessly call out, Mother. No, Your Majesty. Mick Locke fell silent for a moment. Then he explained, it's a royal curse. Leah froze. A curse. He affirmed, yes, a curse. Its official name is Dragon's Breath. In the Fritten royal family, whenever an heir is born, that they bear a mysterious scar on their palm or face. No one knows the reason, so we can only call it a curse, as there's no other explanation. After listening, Leah curiously asked, is there a way to remove it? Mick Locke was silent for a moment, then admitted, yes. She brightened slightly. That's great. What is it? Mick Locke quickly said, by producing an heir. It doesn't guarantee it will disappear completely, but if you marry and produce an heir, the chances of the scar disappearing are higher. That's what happened with my father. Leah finally understood. Oh, so that's the reason. That's why Your Majesty accepted me as part of the agreement. Seeing her saddened expression, Mick Locke froze, wanting to say no. Not entirely, but at this crucial moment, the sound of galloping horses arrived. William and Millie quickly came into view. William incessantly complained to Mick Locke, William, your loyal servant, has arrived. I followed right behind you, Your Majesty. Millie also squeezed in from behind, and Millie, Miss Leah's loyal maid, is here too. Upon seeing Millie, Leah happily ran over. Millie, Mick Locke, unable to explain everything, was extremely helpless, his face pale and uncomfortable. I wish you'd let me finish. It's all because the nobles keep urging me to marry. At this moment, William ran over and shouted, Your Majesty. Mick Locke realized with confusion, wait, why do I feel like I'm the one at a disadvantage? But theoretically, she's also part of the agreement. William rushed over and cried to Mick Locke, Your Majesty, what will William do if you just leave like this? It was so hard bringing Miss Leah's maid along. She can't even ride a horse properly. She was wobbling all the way. On the other side, Leah, seeing Millie, jumped up happily. Millie, how did you get here? Millie hurriedly explained, I kept pestering Mr. William, and he finally agreed to let me come along. He looked so scary when he kept refusing. Leah couldn't help but laugh. This left Mick Locke feeling dejected. Seeing that Mick Locke wasn't listening to his rambling, William called out, Your Majesty, are you listening? But when Mick Locke looked at him with a resentful gaze, William took a step back in fright. At this moment, the three were still talking, while Mick Locke was dozing in a tree. Leah then curiously asked, so, will the other knights camp further away? Why don't we all camp together? William hurriedly explained, with you here, miss, how could we possibly camp nearby? Even though we're further away, we'll keep a close watch, so please rest assured. She replied, I understand. He was genuinely surprised. She was truly a unique, noble lady, daring to suggest sleeping alongside the knights. Leah then explained, anyway, this is my first time in Fritten. I should expect something good, right? Millie chimed in, yeah, oh, that means they also have that. This section appears to be missing from the original text, and is likely a continuation of 1085. William remembered that from the beginning, she was clearly not used to traveling with guards. Leah then pointed at the knights and curiously asked, where are they going? Straight to the castle. He patiently replied, no, they'll be stationed elsewhere for security reasons. He looked back and thought, now that he considered it, her attire didn't seem like that of a noble lady either. As he was thinking, Leah called out, you, William. She called again, you, William. William hurriedly replied, oh yes. Then she asked, that golden pine tree, what does it actually look like? I know it's considered a national treasure of Fritten, but I couldn't find any books describing its shape. William was a little embarrassed. Oh, you mean the golden pine tree. Simply put, it's a pine tree with a vibrant yellow color that only grows in the Fritten Kingdom. Its value is beyond imagination. The spectacular sight of the golden pine hills dyed a vibrant yellow is truly indescribable. However, if you don't belong to a noble family of Fritten, You can't get near them. Leah became more and more interested. Oh my, William continued. Actually, the true value of the golden pine tree is related to dragons. Hearing this, both Leah and Millie exclaimed simultaneously, dragons. McLock, from above, saw that William was revealing too much and warned him. William found it strange that McLock was stopping him. Why? Miss Leah is about to become a part of Fritten anyway. Finally, McLock resignedly let William decide. Do as you please. Suddenly, Leah asked, do you know of any weapon that can pierce a dragon? Leah quickly remembered. Could it be? Before she could finish, he quickly confirmed. That's right, a weapon made from the golden pine tree. That is the only thing that can pierce a dragon, because so many have tried to seize it. The hunting and fighting never cease. That's why His Majesty has the nickname Bloodthirsty War Demon. Leah finally understood everything. Oh, McLock, who was nearby, could only listen silently. Suddenly, she exclaimed, but even so, it's unbelievable. A weapon that can pierce a dragon. I really want to see the golden pine tree for myself. After all, I'm Leah Fritten now, Leah said with a bright smile, captivating McLock. Then William changed the subject. Speaking of battles, I should tell you this. As soon as we arrive in the kingdom, the wedding will be held as soon as possible. Leah was surprised. He and a tree quickly. Turn around. At this moment, William said, His Majesty is an impatient man, but we still need to confirm some things with the Maya tribe. Oh, she thought the Maya tribe. He quickly explained to Leah, the Maya tribe are a group of people who frequently raid villages near the border. Every summer, the situation escalates, so in the end, His Majesty personally confronted them. As a result, the Maya tribe agreed to stop raiding and instead started crafting golden pine trees in exchange for appropriate compensation. He acknowledged their efforts and granted them control over the golden pine tree production area. However, there are suspicions that the Haroon Empire's illegal metal mining activities are connected to the Maya tribe. There have also been reports of disturbing incidents, so we need to investigate. After listening, she said worriedly, oh no? Then Leah smiled and clenched her fist. She quickly made up her mind. It can't be helped. I don't mind having the wedding early. Millie, who was nearby, was surprised by this shocking news. What? William was thrilled. Are you sure? Thank you for your understanding. Millie was heartbroken and wanted to stop her. Miss, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime wedding. There are so many things to prepare. How can it be so rushed? Leah could only force a smile. Well, at least I'm not marrying some old emperor. I'll be marrying a handsome man, just like my mother wanted. Everything will be fine. Yes, it definitely will be fine. Millie pleaded tearfully, Miss, don't push yourself so hard. McLock, in the tree, heard everything. Then he remembered when Leah was attacked with a hidden weapon. He was a little curious. Doesn't she have a scar? Leah, at this moment, made up her mind. All right, wish me luck. Let's start my new life in Fritten now. Millie was still trying to plead with William. Mr. William, I need at least a month to prepare. Faced with this, he could only stammer, oh well. But as soon as they arrived in Fritten, Leah was stunned by the sight of everyone busy preparing for the wedding. Wait, the maids kept asking, where's the rose water? Hurry up and bring it. The jewels must be vibrant colors. She really couldn't imagine it. It all seemed to be happening too fast. By this time, everyone had arrived in Fritten. We're here. Welcome to Fritten Castle. Leah poked her head out and couldn't help but exclaim, oh my God. She looked at William and kept praising. It's amazing. It seems like winter has already begun in Fritten. He quickly said, impossible. It's actually the warmest time of the year. Hearing this, Leah quickly understood. Oh, I see. McLock, behind them, heard this conversation and said nothing. Then he rode his horse forward and entrusted Leah to William. Well then, I'll leave her to you, William. Upon hearing this, William replied, oh yes, Your Majesty. Leah then looked at McLock's retreating figure. A moment later, after she arrived, William helped her down and didn't forget to thank him. This section appears to be a duplicate of the end of the previous section and the beginning of the next, so it has been omitted to avoid redundancy. William, supporting Leah, said with a smile, the ceremony will be held in 2 hours. The maids will help you prepare, so please come with me. She was confused. Are you talking about the welcoming ceremony? He then jokingly said, no, I'm referring to your wedding, of course. Her own wedding was coming so fast that she was a little dazed. What? Then, Leah couldn't help but exclaim, we just arrived after a week's journey. I'm not ready to get married yet, William quickly said, thanks to Mrs. Understanding and generosity. Fortunately, the wedding can still be held as scheduled. She was startled. What? Wait a minute. Back then, William had said, speaking of battles, as soon as we arrive in the kingdom, we plan to hold the wedding as soon as possible. She had indeed agreed at the time. It can't be helped. I don't mind having the wedding early. Millie, who was nearby, was startled. What? He was very grateful upon hearing this. Are you sure? Thank you for your understanding. And now, I didn't expect it to be so soon. Leah asked worriedly, what about the wedding dress? There's no time. At this moment, William said, the dress worn by the former queen will be altered for you. As he spoke, he quickly called for Sophie and Adele. Immediately, two maids appeared and greeted her. It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Highness. We will be in charge of your preparations. I'm Sophie. I'm Adele. We look forward to serving you. Leah was still very flustered and hadn't had time to adjust. Just like that, I was dragged away. The maids were currently busy preparing Leah. Where's the face powder? The amethyst is prettier, I'm telling you. At this moment, the maid invited Leah to look in the mirror. Leah dejectedly raised her head, then was stunned by her own beauty. Sophie continuously complimented her. Your hair is so beautiful, and the color is so unique. Leah looked at herself, truly moved. She really was beautiful. Just then, Adele walked in and said, the former queen's wedding dress has been altered as well. Seeing everything happening so hastily, Leah could only sigh and accept it. Well, since it has to be done anyway, perhaps quicker is better. The scene then shifted to the wedding hall. Miklock was standing with his head bowed. When Leah walked in, he was truly stunned. Leah looked radiant and breathtakingly beautiful. She lifted her head and saw Miklock. Seeing him so handsome, Leah was so moved she wanted to cry. Oh my God, is that handsome man over there my husband? Miklock was lost in thought, then proactively extended his hand to Leah. She was startled by the gesture, then placed her hand in his. Seeing their hands clasped tightly together, the guests immediately erupted in excitement. Wow, wow, wow. At this moment, hand in hand, they walked side by side into the wedding hall. Leah quickly noticed Millie crying in the audience. Seeing Millie like this, Leah couldn't help but laugh. Miklock also noticed her reaction, then blushed and turned his head away. The priest cleared his throat and said, all right, next, the bride and groom will exchange a kiss. Being suddenly asked to kiss, Leah panicked. She was startled and wanted to stop it. Wait a minute, a kiss. Just as she was feeling shy, Miklock spoke, startling Leah. May I have the honor of kissing you? At this moment, he was the epitome of a graceful gentleman. Faced with this request, Leah hesitated. With such a handsome man saying that, how can I refuse? Then she quickly took a step forward. The audience immediately erupted in cheers. Ew, ew, ew. Seeing the two kiss so passionately, the priest announced, you are now officially husband and wife. Back in the present, Leah was sitting in the honeymoon suite. She was wearing her wedding dress and felt very uncomfortable. The dress was too tight, making it hard to breathe. However, Leah still had to endure it. According to tradition, the husband would undress the bride on their wedding night. Suddenly, a strange feeling welled up in her heart. The wedding night. Just recalling the kiss at the wedding, Leah quickly shook off the thought. But she still started to fantasize. Well, really, of course, because it's the wedding night, but just as she was lost in her thoughts, Millie suddenly burst through the door, shouting, Miss, oh no, Your Highness. Millie ran over to remind her that now was not the time to be thinking about such things. Seeing Millie appear at this moment, Leah was confused. Millie, what do you mean? Millie quickly said, oh, that Miklock, he's going off to war now. Hearing this news, Leah jumped up in surprise. Wait, what? Even before our wedding night? Millie understood, crying uncontrollably. Yes, he's already prepared to leave. They say this expedition will last at least 4 months. If this news gets back to Haroon, that's right, in Haroon, a bride who doesn't consummate her marriage on her wedding night will be severely looked down upon. The nobles will constantly mock. That lady was abandoned by her husband. Oh my, is there something wrong with her? Leah made up her mind. I absolutely cannot let that happen. Then she ran out. Millie, I'll handle this myself. Millie chased after her, shouting, where are you going? Where are you going? Seeing her run out of the honeymoon suite, the maids also called out in confusion, Your Highness. Your Highness. Leah was determined to run out. If this rumor reached the Marquis Assel, it would be a great humiliation. You think I'll just stand by and do nothing? Never. After running for a while, she finally found McLock. At this moment, he was deploying plans. All right, we'll execute this plan. But during the preparations, William shouted in alarm, Your Highness. McLock also looked back in confusion. Leah quickly called out, Your Majesty. Having said that, Leah quickly threw herself into McLock's arms, causing the knights beside them to awkwardly clear their throats. Ahem. Looking at his surprised face, Leah declared, You and I, we're going to consummate our marriage before you leave. These words truly embarrassed him. He looked over, and the knights immediately averted their gazes. Sigh. McLock suddenly sighed, then put Leah back down on the ground. Then he frankly asked, Do you really want to consummate our marriage? Hearing this, Leah couldn't help but yell, Who? Who wants to? Oh my God. She just realized she was standing in front of so many people. She bashfully whispered, Who would really want to experience the wedding night? I still have a conscience. McLock was taken aback by this statement. He blurted out what? Leah whispered again, I'm not the type to make such an unreasonable demand of a husband about to go to war. McLock suddenly blushed with embarrassment. It's not that I have any objections. But what do you want from me? The clock has already struck 7. At this moment, Leah sat awkwardly in her chair. Then, McLock's voice was heard from outside the door. I'll eat first, so prepare a meal in the living room. The maid quickly obeyed. Yes, I'll prepare it right away. He quickly gave an order. Tell William the departure time is delayed by 3 hours. The knight quickly obeyed. Yes, understood. Finally, McLock entered the honeymoon suite. Leah shyly explained, The maids are preparing the room. Anyway, thank you. An hour would have been enough, but 3 hours. McLock was truly puzzled. Then why did you suggest a wedding night you didn't even want? She was startled by this question. Finally, she explained, in the Haroon Empire, brides who don't complete the wedding night ritual are treated very poorly. If this gets to the Duke's ears. McLock remembered. Now that you mention it, Duke Uskell. But aren't you the second daughter of that family? The Duke's daughter, living in a room worse than a maid's. Then he voiced his doubts. I'm really curious why a noble lady like you, from the Duke's family, would live in such a gloomy room. What? Were you abused? If so, tell me now. You are Leah Fritter. Leah hesitated for a moment. Then she stood up and said consecutively, abused. There's no such thing. Anyway, thank you for not going through with the wedding night. So please take this opportunity to rest well for these 3 hours. McLock didn't know what else to say. Then he reminded her, I already said, I really don't mind. This statement puzzled her. What? McLock didn't want to repeat himself. Never mind. Just then, Leah thought of something else and asked him, Oh wait, can you give me that coat? Then, not forgetting to ask for more and also the vest, shoes, and socks, please. After a while, the room quickly became messy, startling McLock. Now he questioned Leah, What are you doing? Being asked this, she stammered, When the maids come to clean the room, there must be traces to make them believe. McLock, not knowing what else to say, sat down in the corner, hugging himself. At this moment, Leah started another trick. Then she couldn't help but praise, good idea. McLock was truly confused. What are you talking about? He looked at the wine on the table. Wine? Why are you doing that? Leah unhesitatingly explained further, If I also pour this on the bed, then the maids will definitely believe it completely. He was truly speechless at this moment. Suddenly, he approached from behind Leah. Then he said, I understand what you're trying to do, but in Fritton, there is no such shameful custom, so there's no need to do this. Finally, she realized this with embarrassment. Leah hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry. McLock didn't blame her, but just sighed and suggested, Would you like a drink? Finally, after a while, Leah drank a glass of wine in one gulp. Contentedly drinking, she kept praising, This is really good. It would be a waste to pour it all out. This statement surprised McLock. So you were planning to pour it all out. After drinking for a while, she also put down the glass, deciding not to drink anymore. But maybe I won't drink anymore. He wondered, Are you drunk? Leah cheerfully replied, A little, but it's mainly because the corset is too tight, so I can't eat or drink comfortably. Hearing this, he remembered. Then he voiced his doubts. Then why don't you take it off? Didn't you say we need to leave traces of the wedding night? This sudden suggestion startled Leah. What? But McLock didn't have any malicious intent. It was just that she had already messed up the bed. But if the bride is still wearing her wedding dress, who would believe it? Leah blankly said, Then she glanced to the side. Finally, after tidying her hair, she accepted. Then can you help me? McLock, drinking behind her, was a little confused. Leah then explained, I can't take this dress off by myself. Her words quickly shattered McLock's composure. causing him to spill wine all over his face. Miklock coughed continuously, making Leah very worried. "Your Majesty, are you all right?" He didn't answer, just blushed with embarrassment, then calmly replied, "I'm fine." Then he approached to take off Leah's dress. But after a long time, he still couldn't take off the dress, making her sweat profusely. "Your Majesty." Miklock was also trying his best to take off the dress. "Wait, I'm almost there." She didn't forget to remind him, "You've been saying that for 10 minutes. Miklock was very annoyed at this moment. "Damn it, there's another row of buttons under the ribbon. I swear from now on, no royal wedding in the Fritten Kingdom will ever reuse this dress again." Thinking this, he ripped the dress, silencing the room. Startled by this, Miklock flinched. Leah, unaware of what happened, looked back and asked, "Your Majesty, what was that sound?" He panicked and quickly stopped Leah from turning around. Wait, I'm not done yet." In his panic, he pushed her down and she landed beneath him. At some point, Leah spoke, "Your Majesty." Then she sat up and gave an awkward smile. "Your Majesty, I'll take care of the rest, so please move." For some reason, he blurted out, "Mick," which confused Leah. "What?" Miklock repeated, "Call me Mick. Don't call me Your Majesty anymore." Leah quickly obeyed, calling out questioningly, "Mick." In that atmosphere, Miklock leaned in, wanted to kiss Leah, but she made a pale, unpleasant expression. Leah turned her face away. "Your Majesty, I'm really not feeling well." Finally, Miklock stood up, sighed, and excused her. He suggested, "Let's get some fresh air." Hearing this request, Leah was puzzled. Then, the two went to see the scenery. As soon as they arrived, Leah couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, "Wow." She ran excitedly through the forest, asking, "Your Majesty, look at this mountain." "So this is Golden Pine Mountain." Suddenly, Miklock cleared his throat. Ahem. This flustered Leah. Then he quickly approached again, bringing his face close to hers, making her feel confused. "Me." Hearing Leah call his name correctly, Miklock was pleased. "That's right." Then, he expressed concern for Leah's health. "Are you feeling better?" She replied, "Oh yes, thanks to you." Then Leah said, although the ride here was a bit bumpy. Miklock felt a pang of guilt. After their conversation, the two immersed themselves in the dreamy atmosphere of the forest, which Leah truly enjoyed. "Now I really feel it. I become Leah Fritten," she said with a bright smile, making Miklock's heart flutter. "Oh well." Finally, he wanted to clear up the misunderstanding. "This is part of the agreement, but I didn't bring you here just to have an heir." Hearing Miklock say this, Leah was a little surprised. "What?" He suddenly said with certainty, "I respect you. That is to say, I'm not as heartless as the rumors say." Miklock made an embarrassed expression, and seeing this face, Leah couldn't help but be swayed. Suddenly, she couldn't help but laugh. Leah also wanted to clear up the misunderstanding, so she told Miklock, "Aha, I never thought you were that kind of person, Mick. But anyway, you still need an heir, right? And you have to break the dragon's breath curse." Suddenly, his gaze softened, and he held her hand tightly. "It doesn't matter if it's not broken." Leah hesitated, wanting to say something. But Miklock didn't let her finish, instead requesting, "Let's sit down first, okay?" After they sat down, he began to confide, "There's something I need to tell you about this curse." The two sat together under a tree, and then Miklock frankly recounted his family affairs. "My mother sacrificed herself to protect my father." This both surprised and shocked her. "My mother's father, my grandfather, the former King Samuel, wanted to seize Fritten, so he ordered my mother to poison my father. But my mother couldn't do it, and drank the poison herself instead." Leah couldn't understand why, and Miklock quickly gave the answer. "Because she loved my father." Finally, "Mother." Seeing his mother like that, Miklock cried out in alarm, "Mother." He ran over and hugged her, repeatedly asking Mother why. "Why? That was the medicine grandfather gave father, right?" Before his mother died, she quickly instructed, "Mick, never tell your father that Samuel tried to poison him. If he finds out, he'll execute Samuel for treason." Cough, cough, cough. Miklock couldn't understand at the time. Why? Why did grandfather? No, why couldn't father understand mother's heart? She looked up with weary eyes and said, "Mick, my love." After saying these words, she quickly passed away. This broke his heart at the time. "Mother." Miklock pleaded in vain. "Please open your eyes, okay? Mother." Mother promised to tell me a story before bed. "Mother, wake up, Mother." In the end, I resented my father. The curse was lifted, and I'm still alive, all thanks to my mother. Yet, the only thing he ever mentioned was that I had to find a woman and have an heir. He didn't even understand the heart of the woman who died for him. So I killed Samuel first. Then I threw his head at my father's feet. At that time, Miklock gritted his teeth, wanting his father to know the truth. This is the man who wanted to kill you. You're alive thanks to Mother, so be grateful and live well. At that time, I was blinded by rage, so I didn't see my father's expression. Not long after, my father's condition worsened, and I inherited the throne. I didn't want to become like my father. So, if I didn't want to break this curse, so be it. Leah couldn't help but hug Miklock. After hearing this story, he was confused and asked, "What's wrong? What are you doing?" Leah suddenly interrupted him. "Hey, Mick." She couldn't help but compliment him. "Your mother must have been very beautiful to have given birth to such a handsome man like you. Let's go visit her someday. I haven't had a chance to pay my respects." These words deeply moved Miklock. This made Miklock can't help but smile to himself, praising she really was a sucker for good looks. At least she was consistent. Suddenly hearing him blurt out such a sentence made Leah confused. "Then what do you mean?" Leah asked Miklock about the horse that brought her to Golden Pine Mountain. "Mick, what's this horse's name?" He was annoyed, unable to understand. "It's just a horse. Why give it a name?" Hearing this, 1,001 sentences quickly flashed through Leah's mind. A black horse, strong, but looking lonely. Lonely black shadow. Lonely shadow. Lonely shadow sounds good. Let's shorten it a bit more. After pondering for a moment, she decided on a name for the horse. "All right, from now on, your name is..." Miklock couldn't help but cough continuously. Cough, cough. The horse also seemed helpless when heard the name she gave it. Finally, Leah said the horse's name. "Its name is Bloodstorm." Back with Millie, she was sitting and waiting for Leah to return when suddenly someone called her. "Hey." William walked over and asked, "Has His Majesty left?" Millie said helplessly, "He probably won't be able to leave today, as it's his wedding night." He then suddenly realized. Then William remembered something. Then he told her, if the Queen comes to see him off later, prepare a scarf for her. Millie stood up confused. "Huh? Why a scarf?" He quickly explained. In Britain, there's a tradition where women tie a scarf onto their knight's sword before they depart. Some use their mother's or sister's scarf. But nothing strengthens the resolve to survive and return more than the scarf of a lover or wife. After hearing this, Millie looked at her own scarf, then approached and asked, "So, did you receive a scarf?" William was a little embarrassed by this sudden teasing. "What?" He was silent for a moment, then looked away, refusing. "I am a perfect knight, so I don't need it." Hearing this, she immediately exposed him. Hee, so that means His Majesty is not a perfect knight? Before Millie could finish her sentence, William interrupted in a panic. "What? No, that's not what I meant." He angrily tried to rush in. "I have to leave today, move." Millie hurriedly stopped him. "But you haven't." But it was too late. William kept knocking on the door, shouting loudly, "Your Majesty, it's William, can I come in?" Millie wanted to stop his excessive behavior. But suddenly, both of them stopped in confusion. William wanted to call out again, "Your Majes," but a voice came from inside, "Come in," making him stop his actions. William quickly opened the door and walked in. "Excuse me." The room inside was a mess. Miklock was sitting by the bed, stroking Leah's hair as she slept. Then he quickly gave a warning glance. William cleared his throat to remind him, "Ahem, it's almost time to depart." Seeing this scene, Millie's eyes immediately lit up. Then Miklock replied, "I know, I'll leave soon." As he left, she woke up, realizing, oh. Millie touched her scarf, thinking, "He's gone." She quickly walked over to wake Leah. "Your Highness, Your Highness." She was still sleeping soundly, hearing nothing. Millie couldn't help but grab Leah and shake her vigorously. "Your Highness, this is not the time to be lying here. His Majesty is about to leave." She just woke up, still in a daze. When did I fall asleep? At this time, she hurriedly reminded her. In Britain, there's a tradition of giving a scarf before a knight departs. So you must go and see His Majesty off. Leah was still rubbing her eyes, not fully awake, a scarf. Her eyes were still hazy, not yet fully awake. Then she requested, "Prepare a purple one for me." Millie was a little surprised after hearing this. A purple scarf. Leah happily couldn't help but smile brightly. "That's right, I want to tie it on to myself." At this time, the sun had begun to rise. Miklock walked over and called out, William." William turned around after being called. "Yes." Your Majesty, he continued, before the wedding, I ordered the magic stones from the third royal warehouse to be taken out. He was stunned after hearing this. What? Earlier, when Leah had just arrived, she exclaimed, it's amazing. It seems like winter has already begun in Britain. But William said at the time, that's impossible. Actually, this is the warmest time of the year. Hearing this made her feel a little disappointed. I understand. And Miklock had noticed it at the time. So he continued to explain the matter to William. So, I'll leave this matter to you. William, yes. Your Majesty, when he remembered everything, he smiled, thinking, yes, back then, but why magic stones? Miklock lowered his head and snorted, then coldly ordered, ensure both the East Palace, where the honeymoon suite is located, and the South Palace, where the Queen resides, are filled with magic stones. These words left William dumbfounded, exclaiming, are you mad? Despite exceeding the necessary amount, he still felt it wasn't enough. Aren't the magic stones in Warehouse 3 enough? If not, then Warehouse 4. No, perhaps it's better for you to remain and manage the palace. The conquest can be entrusted to other knights. William loudly objected, Your Majesty. The magic stones in Warehouse 3 are enough to heat the entire Fritton Castle. Why would you mobilize so much of the royal treasury for this? At this, Miklock immediately ordered, Indeed, I really think you should stay here. Hearing this, William's spirits quickly dampened. I'll be back soon. Just as he was about to leave, Leah's voice rang out, Your Majesty. She came running, drenched in sweat from the exertion, making Miklock worry. Why didn't you rest properly? Why did you run all the way here? Leah panted heavily, huff, huff. He was about to say, You didn't have to come see me off, but when Leah handed him the scarf she had prepared, Miklock stopped. Her gaze held a firm resolve. Take this. You said 4 months, right? I certainly believe you'll return safely, but please keep this with you for the next 4 months. Let it remind you of tonight. Miklock gladly accepted it. All right, I'll keep it safe. At this moment, the other knights started to jeer, whistling. Leah was looking around for William, saying cheerfully as she searched, I'll tie it to your sword. After tying the cloth to his sword, it was time for Miklock to depart. Before leaving, he didn't forget to leave a word. Well then, I'll be back soon. Leah also hoped for his safe return. Yes, please be safe. After waving goodbye to Miklock, Leah turned to Millie and cried, Millie, what am I going to do? Seeing her overly agitated expression, Millie was startled. Your Highness. Leah was truly heartbroken. Miklock was leaving for 4 months. For months. A whole 4 months. I've already fallen for that face. How am I supposed to live? I'm so scared. Hearing these words, Millie couldn't help but feel exasperated. What am I going to do? Just as Leah was feeling despondent, she suddenly realized, wait, Millie, where's your scarf? Being asked this, Millie was taken aback. Then she quickly ran towards the palace. Oh dear, it's so cold. Let's go inside quickly, Your Highness. Leah didn't let her off, continuing to press. Wait, Millie, who did you give it to? Millie still insisted on keeping it a secret. It's too cold. I'm going first. Back at the Marquis's mansion, after reading the letter on the table, Haley sat on the floor in a daze. She glanced back, then clenched the letter and screamed. The surroundings quickly became a mess. Looking at the letter torn to shreds on the floor, Haley couldn't understand why. Out of everyone, why me? Why do I have to marry the Emperor? She cried out in anguish. At that moment, the teacup on the table was knocked to the floor, leaving Haley bewildered. What do you mean by this? She still refused to accept the reality. The old Emperor's 12th concubine. That position was supposed to be Leah's. The Marquis, arms crossed, interrupted. Lower your voice, Haley. His eyes narrowed in displeasure. Back then, the Marquis had met with His Majesty, saying, Your Majesty, I've come to collect the 80,000 gold coins you promised, as long as we bring Leah to you. His Majesty quickly recalled, I remember. Yes, but at this moment, he immediately went back on his word. However, isn't Miss Leah already the Queen of Fritton? These words stunned the Marquis. He tried to argue, Your Majesty, Leah's marriage changed due to the agreement between the royal palace and Fritton. His Majesty remained unmoved. How can I soothe the regret of not having my beautiful queen? The Marquis asked in confusion, What do you mean by this? At this, His Majesty gave a meaningful smirk. Don't you have another cherished daughter? If I recall correctly, her name is Haley. If Haley enters the palace next month and becomes my concubine, then I believe my regret will lessen, and I might just grant the Marquis what he desires. At this moment, the Marquis quickly understood. The Emperor intended to renege on his promise, no longer exchanging 80,000 gold coins for Leah. The Marchioness quickly became annoyed, complaining, Oh, heavens, Derek. If we don't get those 80,000 gold coins, we're ruined. The Marquis quickly replied, so Haley must enter the palace. Then he began to paint a picture of how, if Haley became empress, they could not only recover the gold given for Leah, but also demand land. Otherwise, all their efforts so far would be in vain. In any case, they should consider this a blessing. Thankfully, they still had another daughter. These words completely snapped Haley's last thread of reason. She cried out, "Father." Then Haley began to question him. Are you only thinking of selling off your own children? These words left the Marquis frozen. He stammered, unable to speak, but finally asked coldly and ruthlessly, so what? Weren't you also happy about receiving 80,000 gold coins when Leah was going to become the empress? Now that Leah is gone, you must revive the family. There's no other choice. Haley insisted on not shouldering this debt. The family's debt is due to your gambling. Why should I bear it? These words enraged the Marquis, and he slapped her hard. The Marquis's eyes were full of menace. How dare you? You should be grateful to have been raised properly, and you still dare to talk back to me. Then he made his decision without yielding. The wedding will be held in a month. Focus on preparing. These words left Haley feeling ashen. She gritted her teeth and glared at him with hatred. Back with Leah, she kept questioning Millie. Millie, are you really not going to tell me? Her eyes shone as she pleaded, please, whose heart did you steal that you can't tell me? She was quickly defeated by that look. Really? It's not like that. Then Millie said, I just gave it to a knight, wishing him victory in battle. That scarf doesn't have any special meaning. These words made Leah break out in a sweat, and she had to give up. Fine, if you say so, let it be. At this moment, Leah walked over, picked up a glass of water, and forcefully splashed it onto the burning fire. Then she asked curiously, Millie, but was Fritten Castle this hot yesterday? Millie replied with a smile, yes, that's right. I was also surprised why it suddenly became so hot, but in any case, it's better than being cold. Seeing Leah's poor complexion, Millie asked worriedly, Your Majesty, are you feeling hot? You're sweating a lot. Leah didn't know what she looked like, Then she explained, I've always been sensitive to heat, that's all. No, that's not right. She quickly ran over and shouted, Your Majesty. Seeing Leah collapse heavily to the ground made Millie even more worried. Your Majesty, what's wrong? Your Majesty, please stay conscious. At this moment, Leah was dizzy and her consciousness was blurry. I'm so dizzy. Why did this suddenly happen? I feel like this has happened before. Then, in a daze, Leah quickly remembered the time she cried while holding her mother. Mother. She kept asking about the injuries on her mother's face. What's wrong, Mother? Who did this to you? At that time, her mother just smiled and comforted her. I'm fine, Leah. This is nothing to me. I'll be fine after a little rest. But unexpectedly, after saying that, she vomited blood, making Leah extremely worried. Mother. She clenched her hands, unwilling to accept it. No, I don't want you to be sick anymore. Instantly, a power burst forth from Leah's body. The light spread throughout the entire room, and then Leah woke up at that moment. As soon as she woke up, she anxiously wanted to find her mother. Mother, no. But when she saw her mother sitting right beside her, she froze. Her mother asked with a gentle smile, My dear Leah, are you awake? Seeing her mother safe and sound surprised Leah. Mother, you're not sick anymore. Hearing Leah's question, her mother didn't answer, but started feeding her medicine. Come, Leah, take your medicine. But faced with a bowl of medicine, Leah didn't want to drink it. No, Leah isn't sick. Her mother then said, If Leah doesn't take her medicine, I won't either. Hearing this, she had no choice but to reluctantly drink the medicine. Glug glug. As soon as she finished drinking, Leah hazily realized, this medicine isn't bitter at all. Her mother immediately smiled happily. Right? All right, now Leah's strength is also. She immediately nodded obediently. Then her mother comforted her with a smile. Don't worry, Leah, I will protect. Finally, she woke up from that dream and exclaimed, ouch. As soon as she sat up, she kept complaining, ugh, my head. Seeing Leah awake, Millie was so happy she almost cried. Oh, Your Majesty, are you all right? Please lie down and rest for a while. You haven't fully recovered yet. Leah said with certainty, No, I'm much better. Then Leah suddenly froze again. This made Millie worried. What's wrong? Is there more pain somewhere? At this moment, she couldn't help but laugh. Hee Millie, were you really so worried because I fainted that you decorated the room so beautifully? Millie asked, puzzled. What are you talking about? Leah hurriedly said, didn't you decorate this room? Millie cried, I was so worried about your Majesty's safety that I had no time to think about decorating. And this room is exactly the same as before. Leah's mind went blank. Truly bewildered, she stared at the golden lights before her. What were these golden lights? Millie didn't understand what Leah was talking about. What? What do you mean? She reached out and touched the lights. I mean these floating lights. Thinking that Leah had just woken up and might have a concussion, Millie couldn't help but tear up. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Seeing Millie's expression, Leah denied it. No, why are you looking at me like that? Can't you really see these yellow lights? She covered her mouth, wanting to cry, but feeling helpless. It's true. I'm telling the truth. You suddenly fainted, and now you're talking nonsense. Exasperated, Leah punched Millie in the face, sending her tumbling to the floor. Immediately regretting her action, she apologized. Millie, I'm sorry. I accidentally hit you. Millie sat on the floor, lost in thought. Is your head hurting so much that you're seeing things? With this thought, Millie quickly jumped up. I have to call the doctor right away. But Leah immediately stopped her. No, Mia, I was just joking. Millie asked again, really? Are you really joking? Leah forced a laugh and tried to sound convincing. Yeah, it must be because I have a fever. Hearing this, Millie sighed in relief. What a relief. I thought your Majesty had gone mad. Listening to her, Leah became even more confused. Can only I see them? Am I really crazy? But for some reason, these lights felt familiar. Just then, she had a strong desire. I don't want Mother to get sick again. Then, Millie immediately asked for Leah's opinion. So, Your Majesty, can I let everyone in now? At that moment, everyone was peeking in from behind the door, whispering, Your Majesty, everyone. Confused, Leah asked, everyone. Millie quickly explained, the new servants are here to greet you, but when they heard you fainted, they became very anxious. Just then, everyone poured in, asking, Your Majesty, are you all right? Your Majesty, what happened? Leah smiled and agreed. Let them in. She turned and called out, everyone can come in now. As soon as she finished speaking, the door opened, revealing 3 servants looking at her with sympathy. Your Majesty, greetings and concerns poured in. Your Majesty, I was so worried. Are you all right? When I heard you suddenly fainted, I thought my heart stopped. Which idiot was so careless to bring a stone with such high energy? As the servants fussed over Leah, a sudden clearing of the throat startled everyone into silence. The person, radiating an aura of authority, began to scold. You fools, can't you keep quiet in front of Her Majesty? The butler shouted his warning. Then he walked over and bowed to Leah. Your Majesty, I apologize for their rude behavior. But she didn't seem to mind, waving her hand dismissively. Oh no, it's all right. They were just worried about me. The butler then introduced himself. I am Colin, the head butler of this castle. If you have any inconvenience in the castle, please let me know. Leah, also slightly flustered, introduced herself. All right, I'm Leah Fritten. Pleased to meet you. She worried internally. Wow, he seems difficult to approach. Colin, seeming to realize Leah's formality, said, please, speak casually with me. Leah's expression showed her confusion. Then, he suddenly blushed. Ahem, he cleared his throat and then inquired about her health. Are you truly all right? Suddenly, happy to receive such concern, Leah smiled as she replied, yes, I'm really fine. Seeing the harmonious atmosphere in the room, Colin was also pleased. Please, make yourself comfortable. Millie, witnessing all of this, also breathed a sigh of relief. As expected, I'm really looking forward to living here. As night fell and the moon reached its zenith, Miklock had arrived at the monster's lair. As soon as he saw them, he couldn't help but scoff. He scoffed, feeling disdain. Holding a celebration at a time, like this, truly short-sighted. William agreed. I concur. Just then, an assassin ran up to report. Your Majesty, after investigation, it appears the Maya tribe has indeed successfully negotiated with Heapin to cut down the golden pines. Upon hearing this, Miklock cursed angrily. Those lunatic bastards. Miklock immediately asked another question. Is the Fanger Pine production area entrusted to the Maya tribe, all right? The assassin confirmed, yes, the production area managed by the Maya tribe is intact, with no signs of Heapin's logging. He asked another question. What about the food prepared for the celebration? The assassin replied, it seems they've gathered food by threatening the people in the Fritten suburbs. Miklock finally understood. I see. They must think Fritten is an easy target. William didn't forget to remind him. Your Majesty, we must make an example of them. The assassin added, Your Majesty, I have verified the supplementary items you requested confirmation on. Miklock quickly ordered, report. The assassin immediately reported, an unfortunate incident has just occurred, Your Majesty, related to the mysterious kidnapping case. It seems to require your confirmation. Upon hearing this, his expression quickly darkened. He then gripped his sword and ordered, lead the way at once. At Maya's forge, they were discussing something amongst themselves. Did you hear? There seems to be a festival in the village. If we want to join the festivities, we have to finish our work quickly. I heard they've prepared delicious drinks. Isn't there enough work already? It seems everyone has time to chat. One of the Mayans turned around and said with a laugh, haha, that won't do. If you want to join the festival, move faster. Add more materials to the golden pine. The group immediately replied, yes, yes. He then walked outside and was astonished to see the Mayans torturing humans. They kept beating and urging them, faster. The beaten human immediately pleaded, please spare me. Another Mayan was angry. Hey, why are you so slow transporting the golden pine? Wait, do you think I enjoy being slow? This trash can't even do their job properly. Humph, he cursed. He noticed something to the side and saw the Mayan chief arrive. Chief, you're here. The chief quickly replied, yes, indeed. Then he came over and inquired, is the golden pine production process still proceeding smoothly without any obstacles? The Mayan confirmed, of course, thanks to you, Chief, everything is much easier. Then the Mayan looked at the human and said, disciplining this trash is such a headache. The human from earlier kept pleading, please spare me, please spare me. The Mayan, full of confidence, continued, but soon Fritten will fall to the Maya. The foolish Fritonians are distracted by her runes, giving us time to prepare for close combat. As expected, your grand plan is admirable, Chief. He was pleased and proud to be praised. It's just basic strategy. If we put these human slaves on the front lines, even the ferocious Fritten lapdogs will be helpless. These foolish humans won't be able to attack before they're burned to death. As expected of the chief, the true king of Maya. Because of the golden pine, the humans won't even smell the smoke, as if they're nothing. This is the inevitable outcome. The Mayan quickly praised, yes, you're absolutely right. So, isn't this a fitting punishment for them, Chief? Just like those paupers, they're nothing but. As soon as he finished speaking, Miklock appeared and beheaded the Mayan chief. He then added with a sneer, it seems your intelligence is even lower than those paupers. Fritten keeps giving you chances. The Mayan, seeing his chief killed, collapsed to the ground in fear, letting out a bewildered Miklock didn't relent, stepping closer. However, you not only betrayed Fritten, but also kidnapped and tortured their civilians. If this isn't treating human life like grass, then what is? I will personally show you the consequences of betraying Fritten. As soon as he finished speaking, the Fritten knights were ready to aim. The terrified Mayans scattered in all directions. Miklock's gaze was terrifying as he declared, from this day forward, the Maya tribe will cease to exist in this world. A while later, after dealing with the Mayans, a knight quickly came to report, Your Majesty, I have taken care of things over there. Miklock, upon hearing this, praised good. Are there any injuries? The knight confidently affirmed, None, Your Majesty. We never get injured when fighting demons. If someone were to get injured, it would be a knight's disgrace. The knight was now covered in the blood of the Maya tribe. The knight couldn't believe it. Truly, he felt like he was drunk and couldn't even smell the fuel. Seeing William approach, Miklock quickly inquired, William, did you find the heir to the Maya tribe? William promptly reported, about that, I'm very sorry. It seems that person didn't attend this gathering. The knight asked, puzzled, I haven't seen you. Were you looking for the heir? William affirmed, yes. Have you seen our AF? But the knight seemed unaware. I don't know either. Regarding the heir, aside from the name Ludic, there's no accurate information, right? I haven't even found anyone before. After hearing this conversation, Miklock thought to himself. The two continued discussing. They've never revealed the heir, always using the excuse that he's too young. So even if he's still alive, no one could do anything. What can a child do to survive? And there are rumors that he was banished for being too resourceful. If he was truly banished, he wouldn't try to retaliate. Miklock quickly made a judgment. It's best to eliminate all dangers, but I have no other choice. The knight was excited to hear this. All right, let's go back. Finally, Miklock waved his hand and commanded all the knights, burn down their hideout, and immediately retreat to Tell Valley. Afterward, the entire Maya tribe settlement was completely burned down. Everything became desolate, leaving only blood and dust. A sound came from the weeds, and then a foot slowly emerged. The man, seeing his tribe completely destroyed, shed tears and screamed into the cold winter night. He seemed to harbor deep resentment towards Miklock, immediately vowing, "I will never forgive you." By the clear stream, the knights were bathing, washing away the bloodstains, creating a harmonious scene. Miklock and William were sitting under a waterfall, rinsing the blood from their bodies. William, pale but pleased, remarked, "It's good that we fought before winter arrived." Miklock, equally satisfied, agreed, "Yes, the rivers and valleys will freeze soon, and then the bloodstains won't wash off." But he couldn't understand why they needed to stand under a waterfall to do it. Under the waterfall, the red-haired knight happily rinsed the blood from himself, sighing, "Finally, I feel much better." The blue-haired knight then noticed something. "Oh, is that a scarf? Did your mother give it to you?" The red-haired knight proudly clutched the scarf in his hand. "What? Haha, do you think I'm like you? A girl from Haroon gave this to me." This sentence immediately reached Miklock's ears. His face darkened, radiating a murderous aura that frightened the two knights. The red-haired knight, still oblivious, chuckled in confusion. Why did the water suddenly get warmer? "Ha!" Miklock walked over and called out, "Hey." Then, his face filled with killing intent, he questioned, "That girl from Haroon, when did she give you the scarf?" Under his pressure, the red-haired knight immediately cowered. He then stammered out an explanation. "What's wrong?" "No, Her Majesty's maid, Millie, gave it to me before we left." Hearing this, William stopped what he was doing. He immediately looked up in surprise. "What? Before we left, Millie was looking everywhere for someone." He recalled Millie approaching the red-haired knight and stammering, "Excuse me." The knight stopped and replied, "Yes." She then casually inquired about William. "Do you know where William is?" The red-haired knight looked around. The captain is next to Her Majesty." "Wait, where did that guy go? Where did that guy go? I can't see him." She responded with an "Oh," and then asked, "Well, can you take this for him?" The red-haired knight replied, perplexed, "Sure." Millie shyly offered the scarf. According to custom, a girl gives a scarf to a boy to pray for his victory. The red-haired knight excitedly accepted it. "Oh my, what an honor." She humbly demurred, "I'm just a maid." He then asked, "By the way, what's your name?" Millie replied, "I'm Millie, the Queen's maid." After she finished speaking, the red-haired knight affirmed, "That's when I received it. I wasn't going to say anything, but this was supposed to be for Captain William, right?" When Miklock realized it wasn't from Leah, the murderous aura around him finally dissipated. "I understand," he replied. "Yes, that's right." William stood silently behind them. Then he suddenly jumped up in anger. "Why? What's so good about that guy that she would give him scarf?" The blue-haired knight, overcome with jealousy, walked over and said, "You bastard, Ralph, you're trying to seduce the girls from Haroon." It seems I'm quite popular in Haroon." William fumed. "I talk to them just as much, and I'm better looking, I'm better." Suddenly, he realized he had no standing. What right did he have to be jealous? "No, but it's true. I mean, I have the right to be sulky. I'm even a little sad." William scratched his head and abruptly stopped. Then, blushing, he felt incredibly awkward. "I thought we were closer." Elsewhere, a priest knelt down and asked the king in bewilderment, "Your Majesty, what is going on? I've told you countless times, that child is Uriel's son. That power must be even stronger now." Hearing this, the king roared, "Shut up." He pointed at the priest and criticized, "When will the high priest stop babbling about that power? That lady has already held the engagement ceremony, and the power hasn't grown stronger. Isn't that strange?" The priest attempted to explain, "It's highly likely that Uriel did something to suppress it." The king swiftly interrupted him. "And that child is also a member of the Haroon royal family, belonging to me. I've already utilized it when needed, so why make a fuss? If you hadn't let that wench escape from the temple, I wouldn't need her child." Rebuked, the priest paused. He then trembled, wanting to speak about that matter. The king ignored him and ordered, "Imprison the high priest." Hearing this, the priest immediately cried out, "Your Majesty. Your Majesty, you can't do this. You must bring Uriel's child back here." He continued to ignore the priest's pleas. TSK, it seems the old man has finally gone mad. Doesn't know what to do anymore, right? The priest persisted, "That child must become a part of Haroon, and the foundation of Haroon will be destroyed." The king remained unmoved, because such trivial things aren't the reason for Haroon's collapse. He gave a wicked smile. "Are you referring to me? How ridiculous. It's an unattainable power, but what can that power even do? As long as I'm careful, there's nothing to worry about." With that thought, the king immediately gave an order. listen to my decree. Yes, your majesty. I'll send a letter to Marquis Esco's family, so prepare for that. And send one to Count Stone's family as well. Meanwhile, the priest was dragged off to prison. Sitting in his cell in agony, he stammered, He recalled the king's words, his expression crumbling. If you hadn't let that wench escape from the temple, I wouldn't need your hellish child. The priest remembered the woman's smile. Ha ha, foolish Harris. You won't be able to stand this. He collapsed to the ground in despair, asking himself, so, what am I supposed to do now? Elsewhere, Leah gasped as soon as she saw her bedroom. Oh my goodness, is this my bedroom? It's as luxurious as the honeymoon suite. Millie agreed. That's right, this room is really beautiful. Leah smiled to herself, thinking the honeymoon suite was wonderful too, but I don't want to stay alone in a room without Mick. Back then, Colin had asked her, Your Majesty, would you like to continue staying in the honeymoon suite, or would you like to move to the South Palace where your bedroom is located? She had unexpectedly chosen the South Palace. Upon arriving in the room, Leah felt the air was quite warm. It's quite hot in here too. Could you ask them to remove some of the magic stones? Millie quickly obliged. Ah, yes. Understood. Then she suggested, while they're moving the magic stones, would you like to go for a walk? Leah thought, a walk. Millie said, yes, there seems to be a small festival in the square today. You should go and see it. She was curious about the festivals here. A festival? Should I go and see it? As soon as she stepped onto the crowded street, Leah's eyes lit up and she exclaimed, Oh my goodness, there are so many people. Millie seemed excited as well. That's right. As they walked, she noticed jewelry displayed by the roadside. There were many stalls lining the street. Oh, what's this? The owner greeted them as soon as he saw customers. Welcome. The owner explained, these are decorations for stationery. Millie's eyes sparkled at the sight of them. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. When Leah heard the word stationery, she seemed to remember something. She thought of Robbie. Oh, I have to send a letter to Robbie telling him I've arrived in Fritton. Before leaving, he had told her, remember to write, Leah. Goodbye. But upon hearing the price of 20 silver coins, Millie was taken aback. That's so expensive. Leah was looking around. Since I'm at the festival, shouldn't I buy something to send along with the letter? As soon as she looked up, she saw what she wanted to buy and ran towards the stall across the street, while Millie was still grumbling. What a ripoff. The owner said uncomfortably, Hey, are you done yet? Leah's eyes lit up as soon as she saw the brooches displayed on the shelf. Oh my goodness, these brooches are so beautiful. The owner, hearing the compliment, beamed. Hi, you have a good eye, miss. Leah quickly asked for the price. How much is this? The owner's eyes gleamed as he named his price. Miss, you're so beautiful. All right, I'll only charge you 70 silver coins. Hearing the price, Leah was stunned. What? 70 silver coins? She wouldn't accept it and started to haggle. 40 silver coins. 65 silver coins. 50 silver coins. 60 silver coins. That's my final offer. She was a little annoyed. Leah thought, it really is expensive, but I still have the emergency funds I borrowed from the Marquis mansion. Finally, Leah quickly pulled out a gold coin. Then she solemnly paid. One brooch. Give me my change. The owner thought excitedly, I've caught a big fish. Yes, thank you. Having bought the brooch, Leah was thrilled. Nice. It's so pretty. I noticed this color because it's exactly the same as Robbie's hair. Robbie will definitely love it. Leah was about to call out, right, Millie? But when she saw her expression, she was startled and then apologized in surprise. Oh my, I'm sorry. Before that, after buying the brooch, Leah had gone to look for Millie. Where did Millie go? Did she get lost again? She kept searching. Millie, where are you, Millie? But while searching, Leah bumped into someone. Millie, oh my goodness, be careful. Seeing the merchandise about to fall on her, Leah could only stand there frozen. She squeezed her eyes shut in fear. No. But at that moment, Leah vanished, leaving everyone around dumbfounded. Hey, are you all right? Where did she go? Hey, you. Leah, meanwhile, had been pulled into an alley by someone. She opened her eyes and looked around, then was immediately startled. Goodness, who are you? But the other person was only concerned with asking her, are you all right? You should watch where you're going. Hearing this, Leah's eyes filled with gratitude. Wait, you saved me. The other person turned away at this point. Well, you could say that. Seeing the serious wound on the other person, she asked, what's wrong? Are you injured? The other person just gave a wry chuckle. Ahaha, it seems the contents of that box were more dangerous than I thought. Leah felt terribly sorry. Oh no, you're bleeding, you're badly hurt. It's all my fault. Despite her words, the other person simply said, don't worry, this small injury is nothing. But as soon as she finished speaking, her eyes widened in surprise. A golden light emanated from Leah. This puzzled her. What was happening again? Just after the light, Leah quickly fainted, thankfully caught by the other person. She also took off her own cloak and draped it over Leah. Unexpectedly, the wound on Leah's shoulder disappeared. I still can't control my power. Then she took out something and put it around Leah's neck. I hope this helps your highness. Before disappearing, she left these words. Well then, I hope we meet again soon. As the sun turned orange, Leah slowly opened her eyes. Then she looked around in alarm. Oh dear, where am I? She noticed the cloak she was wearing and finally remembered everything. Ah, that's right. Someone saved me and got hurt because of me. And what's this box? I'll keep it for now. Where's that person? I hope she's all right. While Leah was looking for her, Millie found her. She ran over crying, shouting, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, I hate you. Your Majesty, you idiot. Where did you go? Seeing Millie like this, Leah was embarrassed. Oh, Millie, I'm sorry I made you look everywhere for me. Then she explained, I got lost and fell asleep for a while. Millie was startled and asked back, What? Are you sick again? Leah denied it. No, I'm not sick. Actually, as she spoke, she realized something. Come to think of it, my headache is gone. The golden light I saw before doesn't feel unfamiliar anymore, but rather familiar. At this time, Millie said happily, I'm glad you're no longer in pain. But did you buy a necklace in the meantime? Leah was a little confused after hearing this. Huh, a necklace. Looking at the necklace on her neck, Leah confirmed, the person who saved me put it on me before she left. This is the first time I've seen this necklace, but it feels very familiar. I also feel lighter than before. She looked at the necklace and hesitantly replied, I think so. Millie was dejected upon hearing this. Really? Don't tell me you forgot Millie because of this necklace. Leah apologized helplessly. Haha, sorry, Millie. Then, she remembered the events of the day. All sorts of strange things happened today. I suddenly dreamed of my mother, saw a golden light, and met a stranger. I'm so tired. I just want to go back quickly. Thinking this, Leah walked ahead, calling to Millie, Let's go back, Millie. She quickly replied, Yes. Your Majesty. Back at the palace, Leah called out, breaking into a cold sweat. Millie. Yes, Your Majesty. Looking at the cobweb-covered walls, that covered in cracks, everything looked so dilapidated, making Leah feel helpless. I'm really a little surprised. Has the castle always been like this? At this moment, Colin cleared his throat and said, This is also one of the reasons why the wedding must be held as soon as possible. His Majesty has been too focused on military power and conquest, completely neglecting the internal affairs of the castle. Leah finally understood everything. Then she thought for a moment. Finally, she made up her mind. All right, let's see. Leah excitedly asked herself, Should I carry out my first task as Queen of Britain? With that, she turned to Colin to inquire about her authority. Colin, what does my authority as Queen of Britain include? Seeing that he didn't answer, Leah repeated, Colin. Finally, Colin said with a smile, While His Majesty is away, most of the authority has been transferred to you, Your Majesty. So please feel free to give orders as you see fit. Hearing this, she smiled mischievously, then became exceptionally excited. Great, it seems I have a lot to do before His Majesty returns. Then she began to concern herself with other matters. First, I need to understand the Kingdom of Britain. Leah requested of Colin, Colin, take me to the study first. He obediently followed behind. Yes, Your Majesty. Then she asked about the warm stones. While I was away, most of the warm stones were removed, right? Colin affirmed, Yes, according to your orders, only the necessary amount to maintain a suitable temperature was kept, and the rest were returned to the treasury. Leah was very satisfied after hearing this. I see. That solves one problem. I heard Britain is extremely cold, so I've been worried. But now it seems I don't need to worry anymore. However, outside, countless people are suffering from this cold. The maids here were very frustrated. Oh dear, really? How many times has this happened? Sobbing, This queen has such a bad temper. I can't serve her anymore. What should we do now? No one is willing to stay and serve her anymore. Someone in the corner overheard this information and then spoke up. Excuse me. The voice startled the three maids. So she stepped forward and asked for help. I'm here for the first time, so I'm lost. As soon as the maids saw her, they sharply questioned, Who are you? Excuse me, do you know the way to the 12th Queen's chambers? Hearing this, the two maids remembered. That's right. We decided to send a new maid to serve her. Then, one of the maids stepped forward to lead the way. Did you forget? I'll take you there again. Then follow me. Hearing this, she smiled triumphantly. All right, let's go. As they walked, The maid leading the way sighed regretfully. Sigh, your timing is really bad. You're so unlucky. She curiously asked what had happened. The maid quickly explained, you probably haven't heard, but the current queen is the younger sister of the woman originally meant to marry His Majesty. She was forced into the palace and causes a ruckus every day. Hearing this, she understood everything. I understand. That's terrible. At this point, the maid said with some displeasure, I understand her feelings, but that doesn't change the fact that this is a nightmare for us. She takes her anger out on the maids, so no one wants to serve her. I'm sorry to scare you before you even start working, but if you can't handle it, tell me now. That woman wouldn't bat an eye at killing someone. Listening to these words, she couldn't hide her smile. Then, she said sympathetically, even so, she's so pitiful. Hearing this, the maid was quite surprised. What? She immediately assured her, I'll do my best to serve her well. Her words left the maid perplexed. Then the maid didn't bother anymore. Well, I've warned you. You won't understand until you experience it yourself. We're here. Be careful not to get hurt. After bringing her to the destination, the maid immediately left. She couldn't help but lift the corners of her mouth, revealing a delighted smile. But as soon as she entered the door and uttered the words, excuse me, a teacup came hurtling towards her. Haley impatiently asked, who are you? Seeing her unstable state, she beamed, then curtsied with a smile. It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. I'm the new maid sent to serve you. Haley impatiently repeated what she had said before. Didn't I make myself clear? I said I don't need a maid. But unexpectedly, she bluntly commented, you look truly pathetic. Her words drove Haley nearly mad. She couldn't help but yell, are you done yet? But she, unfazed, closed the door and then remarked, Your Majesty, you must have been a beauty once. Haley didn't understand what she was trying to say. What? She gave a sly smile. Adorned in magnificent jewels, dressed in expensive gowns, you must have had many suitors. But this isn't the life you imagined. My life was sold like a commodity to pay off my father's gambling debts. Back then, His Majesty forced her to come here. Haley, though unwilling, had to offer herself to him to repay her father's gambling debts. This isn't my life, not at all. Everything should have been hers. That was her life. Hearing this, she wore a satisfied expression, then walked over and said, I heard there was supposed to be another young lady who would marry in your place. Haley cried out in anguish, Leah. Just then, she placed her hand on Haley's shoulder, painting a beautiful future. Do you want to take it all back? Return the position of queen to its rightful owner and live the luxurious life you once had. I can help you achieve all of this. These words seemed to hypnotize Haley's mind. That's right. Nothing has ever been fair. How could someone like me be treated this way? This position rightfully belongs to Leah. If she had become queen as planned, she looked down at Haley, anticipating her decision, then froze in surprise. As she solemnly made her decision, what do I need to do? Seeing this expression, she trembled with delight. Then, she happily laid out the plan. First, we'll start with a bath. A clear mind stems from a clean body. At this moment, Haley silently lifted her head. Then she began to show concern. What's your name? Suddenly asked her name. She was a little surprised, then turned around and introduced herself. Your Majesty, my name is Yulon. Back in the Emperor's palace. Leah, having read for a long time, stretched tiredly. Then she kept massaging her shoulders. I'm so stiff. I've been here for days. I knew this wouldn't be easy. But while stretching, Leah quickly noticed, According to the book, the previous king of Britain suffered from a strange, incurable disease starting in 867 and passed away in 868. The more she read, the more curious she became. The previous king of Britain, that's my father-in-law. Now that I think about it, I did mention His Majesty's father back then. So what does Seoul's history book say? After searching for a while, Leah found it. She started flipping through the pages, reading, the previous king of Seoul passed away in 867. This startled Leah. That's all it says about the previous king of Seoul. But I clearly stated that His Majesty's father committed suicide. I wouldn't distort history arbitrarily, and there's no reason for me to alter it. Then, could it have been my father-in-law? But that doesn't make sense either. What incurable disease did His Majesty's father suffer from? Leah's gaze suddenly became melancholic. He truly didn't love my mother. As these distracting thoughts tormented Leah, Millie suddenly peeked in to check on her. She immediately stepped forward and asked, Your Majesty, you're here again today? Seeing her, Leah brightened. Millie, you're here too. Millie advised her, I know you're doing all this for Fritten, but you should take a break occasionally. Leah suddenly put on an air of genuine responsibility. This is a challenge I must overcome if I want to be a proper empress. Studying isn't unfamiliar to me. It feels quite comfortable. Millie agreed. Now that I think about it, Your Majesty always used to spend time in the study with Master Robbie. Mentioning those times brought back memories. That's right, I should thank Robbie. Thanks to him, everything feels familiar now. Seeing that Leah only remembered Robbie, Millie quickly stood up. Don't forget, I also fulfilled my guard duties at Stone Manor, okay? Seeing Millie's actions and words, she laughed. Haha, that's right, and you too. Recalling those times made Leah happy. Oh, those were the only happy times I had in her room. The scene flashed back to 5 years ago. The Marquis was pacing back and forth in the mansion, constantly being watched by a disguised Millie. Then, like a true spy, she reported to Leah, all clear, no problems detected. At that moment, she was startled. Then she scolded Robbie, you scared me. I thought it was the Earl. The 15-year-old Robbie said, I told you, you shouldn't be here. Leah quickly made up her mind. All right, let's move on to the next step. This sudden change of direction surprised Robbie. What? So soon? He was frustrated with this kind of studying. Leah, shouldn't we take a break? But she immediately refused. No, you've learned all this at the academy, but I don't know anything. You said you'd teach me, right? What's your next class, Robbie? Come on. Robbie was truly exasperated, but his eyes suddenly lit up, and then he cleared his throat and began his lesson. Ahem, the next class is dancing. The sudden mention of dancing stunned Leah. Huh? She asked curiously. They teach that at the academy too. Robbie hesitantly explained, well, yes. Dancing is an elegant skill for all ages, so they've included it in the curriculum. Leah immediately refused. But I've already learned how to dance, so let's skip this lesson and move on to the next one. But Robbie wouldn't budge. But dancing at the academy is on a whole other level. This piqued Leah's curiosity. Really? What's different? Robbie stammered, blushing. Well, it's hard to explain with words. He extended his hand, then blushed and said, you'll understand if you dance with me once. This truly made Leah laugh with delight. She placed her hand in his, accepting the dance with Robbie. All right, let's dance, Robbie. I actually know. Leah quickly exposed him. You haven't actually learned this, have you? You're lying because you don't want to study anymore. That was a slip-up. His ears always turned red like that when he lied. While dancing, Leah recognized his lack of skill and instructed him. You have to hold my waist tightly. Oh well, since I'm always asking for your help, I'll give you a little leeway. What else can I do? Leah's face shone with pride. Finally, there's something I can teach Robbie. After all, he's the friend who introduced me to this world. Well, except for dancing. Millie recalled, I was still so nervous back then. That day, I was finally caught red-handed, and my heart was pounding. Suddenly, the Marquis burst through the door and scolded Robbie. You rascal, playing with Leah again. Go play with Haley. Millie tried to stop the Marquis. Oh dear, run. Then Robbie grabbed Leah's hand and ran. Remembering that incident, she truly laughed out loud. Haha, as long as we weren't caught. Thinking about it now, it doesn't matter. I should send a letter along with the brooch later. Millie agreed. That's a good idea. I'll get you some stationery and a pen. She scratched her face. I want to write a letter to Robbie, inviting him to Fritten. But then she scratched her head, understanding the reality. Earlstone would never allow it, right? Even so, Leah really wanted to see Robbie again. I'm a little lonely, but what can I do? I suppose I'll have to go to Haroon myself someday. But at least I have a wonderful, handsome lover in Fritten. Seeing Leah's infatuated expression for Miklock, Millie felt sorry for Robbie. Master Robbie, poor thing. Leah kept sighing. Oh, I miss him again. Millie was truly exasperated. It seems your Majesty prioritizes love over friendship. Huh. On Robbie's side, he was writing something when he suddenly stopped. Huh. He suddenly became flustered, breaking out in a cold sweat. I feel so uneasy. Why do I suddenly feel this way? Robbie immediately asked his attendant, Mans, if Leah had sent a letter yet. Mans looked puzzled. A letter? Sir. Suddenly, he seemed to remember something. Oh, now that you mention it, he said, thinking there was a letter from Leah, which made Robbie excited. But unexpectedly, it was an intelligence report. A letter just arrived from the royal palace. I don't know what it's about, but there's no letter from Miss Leah. These words made Robbie want to cry. He sadly asked himself, Leah, are you still writing? Meanwhile, Leah had forgotten to write again. Over with Miklock. He was actively clearing out monsters. Attack! Suddenly, two people from another tribe looked down at Miklock and exclaimed, that's right, he really is the king of Fritten. He quickly ordered, all forces attack the Fritten Knights. After clearing out the monsters, Miclock immediately turned around and shouted, "William." William responded, "Yes." "Your Majesty," he inquired, "how is the conquest going?" William quickly reported the situation. "We've almost cleared the designated area." After listening, Miclock suddenly fell silent. Then he abruptly made a decision. "I need to speed things up." These words startled William. Yes, William seemed to understand his mood. "You must be eager to return." Suddenly, Miclock raised his hand to stop him. Both of them looked forward and saw a group of people approaching. "Your Majesty, they are from the Malo tribe." Suddenly, a member of the Malo tribe waved a white flag of surrender. Seeing this, Miclock shouted, "Halt!" Then he questioned their reason for being there. "What is your purpose on Fritten land?" The man began to explain, "I am Joman, a knight representing the Malo kingdom. King Malo wishes to propose an alliance. Please forgive us if this is presumptuous." Miclock looked at William in surprise for confirmation. "The Malo tribe established a kingdom." William confirmed, "Yes, that's correct. I heard they expanded their power, unified all the surrounding tribes, and declared the formation of a kingdom." The red-haired knight found this amusing. Establishing a kingdom. "Your Majesty, they're probably planning to betray us, just like the Mayan tribe did when they pretended to surrender." He immediately nodded to the attendant beside him. The attendant immediately presented a document. Not only the Milo kingdom, but also 5 allied tribes from the northeast have agreed to the same terms. "We request the approval of the Fritten kingdom." Miclock took the document and opened it to review. Magic stones, minerals. This is a substantial tribute, much more than a Milo tribe offered before. After reading, Miclock asked, "So what are your demands?" Joman immediately explained, "This is a non-aggression pact between the Fritten kingdom and the Milo kingdom, as well as the Northeast Noble Alliance. They also require necessities to help them through the winter." Miclock was puzzled as to why he should accept such unfavorable terms. Joman said, "Unlike humans, monsters don't value magic or minerals. They are more concerned with storing food for the winter. If the agreement is reached, the monsters will have no reason to attack the villages on the Fritten border." As soon as he finished speaking, the document in Miclock's hand fell to the ground. He pointed his sword, drawing a cut across Joman's neck. Miclock repeated his question, "I want to know the true intentions of the Milo kingdom." Seeing his sharpness, Joman fell silent for a moment, lost in thought. Then he began to explain, "We heard rumors that the Melo tribe has been destroyed. As a newly established kingdom, Milo only seeks security through an alliance with Fritten." Miclock struggled to understand. Even if that's the case for Milo, what about the Noble Alliance? What guarantee do I have that they won't be the first to break the treaty? Joman promised, "If that happens, we will personally eliminate the traitors. The kingdom's safety is our top priority." Miclock seemed swayed by these words. He finally accepted the matter. "What is the procedure for the alliance?" Joman explained, "King Milo wishes to explain the details personally." Then he invited, "Milo Castle isn't far from here. Why don't we go now?" William quickly stopped him. "You want us to willingly walk into your lair?" "Your Majesty, they must be plotting something." Miclock questioned, "Why is he so eager to see me?" Joman didn't know the answer and could only lower his head and apologize. "Please forgive me, but only King Milo can explain." William still didn't trust them. "Your Majesty, this is suspicious. We should avoid such a concerning agreement." Suddenly, Miclock made a decision. "Perhaps it's about King Milo." Joman was confused. "Yes." Miclock immediately turned around without a word. Then, Miclock announced his decision aloud. "I will only take the first knight order to Milo Castle. Ralph, lead the remaining knights to complete the conquest and then return to Fritten Castle." William still didn't approve and tried to stop him. "Your Majesty, this could be a trap." Miclock didn't seem to care. "Even so, it doesn't matter." Miclock immediately issued a warning, stating that they were powerful enough to annihilate Milo if necessary. Jalman was shocked by this declaration, then let out a helpless laugh. "Let's go, King Fritten." Upon Miclock's arrival, King Milo came to greet him. "Welcome, Your Majesty. It is an honor to have you at Milo Castle." Miclock, seemingly uninterested, replied coldly, "I appreciate your hospitality." The king then extended an invitation. "You must be tired from your journey. Please feel free to make yourself at home in the castle, although it is somewhat humble." But Miclock was having none of it, immediately refusing. "That won't be necessary. I will depart as soon as the alliance treaty is signed." This startled King Milo. "But you are our honored guest. We cannot allow that. We have prepared a banquet in your honor." He quickly retorted, a simple meal and a place to rest will suffice. Besides, my knights, save for my personal guard, will be waiting outside the city. There's no need for a banquet. The king was speechless. Outside the castle, but they might fall ill in this bitter cold. Miklock stated firmly, do not worry. The cold of Milo will not affect my knights. Overwhelmed by his imposing presence, King Milo had no choice but to concede. I understand. Then, allow me to show you to your quarters. A servant led Miklock to his room, adding, even though the banquet has been cancelled, His Majesty wishes to dine with you. I will inform you when it is time for dinner. Until then, please rest well. William smirked. Miklock thought to himself, am I supposed to pretend I don't see anything and dine with them? I wonder what they're planning. He quickly made up his mind to attend the dinner, forge the alliance at dawn, and leave immediately. William grew increasingly displeased. Your Majesty, are you truly going to dine with them? Miklock asked in confusion, why not? If I'm not mistaken, they won't try anything with the food. William couldn't help but press further. And what is your guess? He began, well, a demon is a demon after all. Miklock asked, perplexed, what do you mean by that? William tried to enlighten him. Your Majesty, can't you feel it? Their king, their very presence. But it's like hypnosis. These words did give Miklock pause. He thought he was pondering something important, but Miklock's mind wandered to Leah. I'm surprised because they all have golden hair, just like Leah. In Fritton, only Leah has that hair color, but it's quite common here. William was, predictably, speechless. He then arrived at the dining area to meet with King Milo. Upon seeing Miklock, the king appeared exceptionally enthusiastic. King Fritton, you've arrived. King Milo continued his flattery. Although this is just a simple meal, we are deeply honored to dine with the king of Fritton. Miklock, wanting to avoid excessive pleasantries, prompted, spare me the formalities. Sit. A look of anticipation suddenly appeared on the king's face. Yes, I understand. Then, King Milo announced, to entertain the king of Fritton, I have invited another guest. Miklock was puzzled. Another guest. Before Miklock could respond, King Milo loudly introduced, allow me to introduce Princess Shane. Shane entered, curtsying with a smile. It is an honor to meet the king of Fritton. She approached slowly, but Miklock, uninterested, turned his face away. Shane then reached Miklock's side and introduced herself. I am Princess Shane of the Milo Kingdom. My name is Shane. As she spoke, she presented herself in her most charming manner. However, after she finished her curtsy, Miklock still showed no reaction, so she looked at King Milo in confusion. Seeing the awkward silence, Shane quickly cleared her throat. Ahem. This startled him. The king then remembered he should excuse himself. Ah, Your Majesty Fritton, I just remembered an urgent matter. Please dine with Princess Shane first. Miklock tried to stop him. Wait. But Shane interrupted. Your Majesty, do you enjoy wine? Shane, with a captivating smile, explained, this is our kingdom's finest vintage, brewed even before the founding of Milo. But Miklock replied, my wife enjoys it more than I do. These words hit Shane like a ton of bricks, leaving her breathless. Ah, the queen. Not wanting to converse with Shane any further, he stood up and suggested, let's wait until King Milo has finished attending to his urgent matter. She quickly stood up to stop him. Please wait. So, Your Majesty also enjoys wine. I've also heard a little about your marriage. I have something to say about her. Perhaps we could talk before dinner. Hearing this, Miklock sighed in resignation. After sitting down, she filled her glass with wine, still brimming with confidence. I am Shane, the most beautiful woman in Milo. She took a sip of wine. Shane tried her best to appear alluring, thinking to herself, this wine tastes so wonderful. No man can resist this charm. However, Miklock beside her ate and drank like a machine, indifferent to his surroundings. This infuriated her, and she clenched her wine glass tightly. At least that resistance should have disappeared by now, she thought. I only agreed at first because my father kept begging me. I thought I could help forge the alliance myself. A marriage alliance. Shane forced a smile, chuckling, but in her heart, she still couldn't understand. How could he be indifferent to her beauty? If she had known it would turn out like this, she wouldn't have accepted when King Milo tearfully begged her to dine with King Fritton. Why me? Why not one of the distant relatives? He quickly replied, they are all men who can inherit the throne. But you, my beautiful daughter, through a marriage alliance, you can. These words left Shane deep in thought. Miklock had finished eating and put down his spoon. Then he began to ask, so, what do you want to say about Leah? Shane, still lost in thought, was startled to see he had finished eating. He's already finished. Stroking her blonde hair, Shane asked. I heard Her Majesty, the Queen of Fritain, also has blonde hair like mine. Miclock confirmed that's right. Hearing this, she began to chatter. Of course, I wouldn't dare compare myself to the noble queen, but platinum blonde hair is quite famous in Milo as well. These words truly exasperated him. I know. In this awkward atmosphere, Shane didn't know what to say, only cursing inwardly. How troublesome. Suddenly, she paused, then started a new topic. Perhaps if I show you an example, you can compare for yourself. Miclock still didn't want to talk to Shane. Compare what? When he looked up, he suddenly stopped. Suddenly, he saw Shane transform into Leah's face, smiling as she asked, what do you think? Are you satisfied with me? She slowly approached. Would you like a closer look? Shane gloated inwardly. You think I can't handle a marriage alliance? At this moment, Shane's eyes gradually became seductive. I may not have outstanding talent, but I'm definitely worthy of staying by your side, and I always get what I want. Seeing this, Miclock immediately rebuked these cheap tricks. He couldn't stand it anymore and shouted angrily, William. The summoned William quickly appeared. Yes, your majesty. Miclock, his face grim, ordered, bring the king of Milo here immediately. As soon as King Milo appeared, he knelt down and begged for forgiveness. Oh, great King Fritain, please forgive this rudeness. Seeing the scene before her, Shane was shocked. Then, he tearfully blamed everything on her. I tried to stop her, but she insisted on seeing your majesty alone to discuss the marriage alliance. Shane couldn't help but step closer and whisper, wait, father, you have to be on my side. He continued to make excuses, shifting the blame. I believe she only did this to protect our people. If my incompetent daughter has offended or harmed you in any way, please forgive her. William breathed a sigh of relief. Just as I thought, she's not the queen. After a moment, King Milo made a suggestion. Since things have come to this, why not take this opportunity to let my daughter stay by your majesty's side to strengthen the relationship between our two kingdoms? This way, the future of our two nations will. Miclock quickly interrupted. As long as the treaty is maintained, peace between our two kingdoms will last forever. King Milo still wanted to marry his daughter to Miclock. But isn't this how most human kings expand their territory? He quickly rejected the suggestion. I don't even have enough time to love my only queen. He wanted to say more, but Miclock wouldn't allow it. And at one point, my mother's homeland, the kingdom of Samuel. It seems you haven't heard that story. Hearing this, King Milo's demeanor immediately turned fearful. Finally, the entire room fell silent. Miclock stood up and requested, the sun has risen. We'll depart immediately after signing the peace treaty. Before that, he didn't forget to remind him, we would be happy to accept tribute from the kingdom of Milo. However, she should also pay a price for insulting my queen and angering me, shouldn't she? Shane, gag at this point, lay on the ground in a foul mood. Furious, Miclock immediately set a condition. Apologize for this disrespect and send an additional 3,000 tons of heated magic stones. Right. This condition greatly surprised King Milo. What? William was also dismayed after hearing this condition. That's enough to deplete two minds. Does he want to burn the queen alive? Miclock said, what? Can't you do it? King Milo became flustered. Oh no. It's just that for now we'll send 1,000 tons by the end of this month. In the Haroon Empire, Earlstone. At this time, the Earl summoned Robbie. Then he gave a serious order. Pack your bags immediately and depart for Fritain. Robbie couldn't understand. What? Why do I suddenly have to go to Fritain? The Earl urged him to go see Leah smoothly. You must miss her very much, right? Robbie became embarrassed. But father, you never liked me being close to Leah. Suddenly, the Earl smiled triumphantly. Then he said, it's His Majesty's decree. His Majesty even prepared a carriage and travel expenses for you. Robbie was stunned by this news. What? The Earl said, well, after all these years of currying favor with the Marchioness Asker, I'm finally going to see a return on my efforts. I thought your friendship with her was useless, but now it's become a golden opportunity. Hearing this, Robbie quickly stopped him. Wait, even the Marquis isn't going. Why are you sending me? The Earl seemed unable to fathom it either. I don't know the details either. Perhaps His Majesty pities the girl who almost became queen. Robbie still tried to protest. If that's the case, he could send a royal envoy, not me. The Earl didn't want to discuss it further. Oh, stop asking. It's a royal command. Just do as you're told. Then he took out a letter. This is a letter His Majesty wrote to you personally. I'll also send a private letter to Fritain, so depart immediately. Robbie took the letter and returned to his room to read it. The letter requested that he closely monitor Leah Askell and report back immediately if anything unusual occurred. After reading it, Robbie was shocked. He couldn't understand. Unusual. Impossible. I know Leah better than anyone. How could she possibly stand it? Isn't she crying in anguish every day? Of course, the king of Fritain is obviously a barbarian. Someone like that could never make Leah happy. Thinking this, Robbie immediately made up his mind. I must go to Fritain as soon as possible. Oh wait, she must be enduring it all alone in a foreign land. I should bring something to comfort her. Perhaps some of her favorite books. Robbie started searching. I hid Leah's things under the bed, so father wouldn't find them. As soon as he opened it, a cloud of dust billowed out, making Robbie cough incessantly. I told him not to clean, and now it's all dusty. Suddenly, Robbie noticed something unexpected. That box. Robbie quickly opened the box. Inside were letters. He was a little puzzled. Are these the letters Leah wrote to me when I was at the academy? So they were here. I hid them to avoid father's scrutiny, and now I found them here. Reading those letters, Robbie felt a surge of warmth. Then he began to recall the day he entered the academy. Welcome everyone to the prestigious National Academy. Before entering the academy, Robbie didn't forget to look back. He searched for Leah in the crowd. Leah, you didn't come. Seeing that she hadn't appeared, he felt very disappointed. How boring. He lowered his head and walked into the academy. Then Robbie unexpectedly looked up. Then he saw Leah standing next to the school holding a bouquet of flowers, which made him very excited. Leah, you really came. He anxiously ran over and asked, why did you come but not go inside, instead standing outside like this? As soon as he arrived, Leah handed the bouquet to Robbie. This action startled him. Flowers. Robbie was so moved that tears welled up in his eyes. Leah, did you prepare these for me? Thank you so much. But she kept holding onto the bouquet, not letting him take it. So he reminded Leah, you have to let go so I can take them. A very uncomfortable look suddenly appeared on Leah's face. Then Leah directly threw the bouquet away, causing him to fall heavily to the ground. Ouch. Robbie looked up in confusion. Then he saw her crying, which puzzled him. Leah couldn't help but burst into tears, which made Robbie very embarrassed. Leah, he quickly pulled her away. Let's go over here. The two arrived at a secluded place where no one was around. Robbie asked worriedly, are you calmer now? Then can you tell me why you were crying? When asked, Leah narrowed her eyes and then replied, the thing is, I don't want you to go to the academy. These words truly shocked Robbie. What? At this moment, she finally revealed the real reason. I attend every class with you, but if you go to the academy, I won't be able to see Professor Pallet anymore. He's the perfect husband I've been looking for. He finally understood the reason with dismay. So that's it, Leah added, and she suddenly clenched her teeth uncomfortably. Then she finally revealed the real reason. If you go to the academy, we won't be able to see each other anymore. You know my father won't let me go, so there's no other way. But Robbie was truly surprised and exclaimed, Leah. She couldn't hold back her tears any longer and burst into tears. If you make new friends at the academy, I'm afraid you'll forget me. These words touched Robbie, and he quickly comforted her. Don't worry, Leah. I'll come back to see you every month. Leah was surprised. What? How is that possible? Robbie said, they said we can go out on weekends. Maybe not every week, but maybe every month. And when I come to the Marquis mansion, I'll tell you everything I've learned at the academy. I'll write everything down and tell you everything. So, hearing these words, Leah couldn't help but smile. Then she asked curiously, you'll always dress like Professor Pallet, right? Robbie quickly paused and replied awkwardly, well, in the end, the two made a promise. Okay, promise me, Teacher Robbie. Being called teacher made him embarrassed. Leah, back then, I promised to visit her every month, but Leah sent me letters every week. Thanks to those letters, I always knew what she was doing. In fact, I often wrote back because she was curious about the academy. Back then, we knew everything about each other, but now, Robbie spread all the letters out on the table. He was utterly perplexed. Why did she stop writing to me? We always wrote to each other when we were apart. We practically lived our lives through letters. Leah couldn't have forgotten. Absolutely not. Robbie's rich imagination began to run wild. He guessed that Mick Locke might no longer allow Leah to contact the outside world. From now on, all external contact would be cut off. She would have no choice but to say, yes, your majesty. He speculated, was it King Fritain who stopped her from sending letters? Remembering the time Mick Locke had choked him, he felt it was highly likely. Yes, very likely. Judging by his behavior back then, he was a tyrannical bastard. Robbie gritted his teeth and blamed himself. If I had known this would happen, I should have taken Leah with me. No, it's not too late. He closed the box, his mind made up. If she's unhappy Even if it's King Fritten, even if it's the Emperor, I won't stand idly by. Seeing Robbie leave, Hans called out in confusion, Master. But he only ordered Hans, prepare the carriage. We're going to Fritten immediately. Wait for me. Leah, I'm coming. At this moment, in the royal palace, Leah was shocked. What? A letter from Stone Manor. She finally remembered that she hadn't written to Robbie. Oh, right. I should have written back to Robbie, but I completely forgot. She was so annoyed, she wanted to melt into the floor. He must have been impatiently waiting and sent this first. Is he angry? Just then, Millie brought the letter over, Your Majesty. Then she reported, This isn't Master Robbie's letter. It's from Earl Stone. Leah was surprised. What? Why would the Earl write to me? She opened the letter and read it. Leah called out to Millie and told her, Millie, Robbie is coming to Fritten to see me. Millie was very surprised. Huh, Master Robbie, that's wonderful. But then Millie noticed Leah's expression wasn't quite right. So she asked worriedly, Wait, miss, aren't you happy? She hesitantly looked up. It's just to come here. Robbie needs Earl Stone's permission. How did he manage that? Earl Stone never liked me being close to Robbie. Millie agreed with this. That's right. Earl Stone wants Master Robbie to be close to Miss Haley. Well, I guess Robbie really wanted to see Your Majesty, so he must have found a way. Leah hoped so too. Yes, perhaps. Just then, someone entered the room and said, Isn't this good news? As soon as she saw him, Leah quickly said, You're later than usual today, Duke Shernan. Duke Shernan, a minister of Fritten, replied with a smile, I'm late because I had to fetch a letter for Your Majesty. This letter will surely make you happy. Leah was a little puzzled. What is it? Shernan quickly informed her. It's news from the commander of the rear guard. Upon hearing this, Leah tore open the envelope. He reported the situation with a smile. The monster subjugation is going very smoothly. They will return a month earlier than expected. The rear guard has already departed to return to Fritten Palace. However, His Majesty has to stay at Milo Castle due to diplomatic matters. Leah seemed not to hear Shernan's words, excitedly announcing, Millie, His Majesty will be back in 4 days. Millie also exclaimed in surprise, Oh my goodness. Leah quickly became ecstatic. Oh no, just thinking about his face is enough to make me happy. Quick, prepare a rose petal bath and a cucumber mask. My skin has been in terrible condition lately. This is an emergency. Shernan approached with a smile and called out, Your Majesty. She then realized he was still standing there. I'm just so happy. Shernan immediately reminded her, His Majesty Mick Locke will be back soon. Shouldn't you start preparing for these 4 days? Leah was confused. Prepare for what? Seeing Leah standing on the table talking, Millie quickly pulled her down. Get down. Leah finally reacted. The welcome party. She quickly ordered Millie, quickly call the head butler. Yes. Then Leah quickly issued more instructions. The banquet will be held using the Queen's royal budget, but I need more funds to decorate the castle. Call the head chef too. Millie quickly ran off to carry out the orders. Yes, Your Majesty. The thought of the party made Leah very excited. I'm going to make this banquet the grandest party ever. The knights should enjoy themselves too. She suddenly realized, wait, the knights too? Leah turned and called out to Duke Shernan. He replied with a smile, Yes, Your Majesty. Then she wanted to tell Shernan her idea. There are only 4 days left. It's a bit risky, but do you want to hear a brilliant idea? Hello everyone, I'm Millie. We've been preparing for the banquet for 2 days now, and everyone's been so busy they haven't even had time for a nap. The busiest person among us is the head chef. Millie was thrilled after smelling the aroma. Let's go see how he's doing. Also, why is the head chef the busiest? We have to go back 2 days. Millie was very surprised to hear that Your Highness wanted to invite the knights' families. Leah affirmed, Yes, family is very important to everyone. Now, His Majesty and I are also family. These words truly moved Duke Shernan to tears. She began to envision a beautiful future. A few days ago, I saw Duke Shernan taking a walk with his family. He looked very happy. I imagine the knights must miss their families very much too. Moreover, most of the knights are from commoner backgrounds. Their families have never had the opportunity to set foot in Fritten Royal Palace. So this is a perfect opportunity to invite them. Hearing this, Millie's eyes lit up. Oh, so the total number of knights is, That's right. Now the head chef has to prepare food for thousands of people in just 4 days. It's a great idea, but everyone is working day and night because of it. But what can we do? We have to do our best for those who are returning safely. Millie flung open the kitchen door and shouted, Head chef, Millie's here to help. As soon as she entered, she saw the head chef covered in alcohol and screamed. The head chef was sent to the infirmary, which worried Leah. Millie, what happened? Didn't we hire enough sous chefs? She quickly replied, Yes, we did. but the head chef doesn't seem to trust them and won't let them do anything. After all, he's a perfectionist. Even lying in bed, the head chef was still thinking about work. Leave it to me. T, this is what you call cooking. This really frustrated her. All right, I understand. Millie, please continue to help everyone finish the rest of the work. Yes. She looked at the head chef, then sat down beside him, worried about how to resolve the situation. What should I do? There's less than a day left, and I can't find a new head chef. Just then, as Leah was thinking, she remembered something. Suddenly, the necklace around Leah's neck glowed. This surprised her. Oh, this necklace. I got in the alley. I've been wearing it because it makes me feel calm. But what is this warm feeling? As she looked at the necklace, she noticed the head chef. Then, a feeling welled up inside her. Leah slowly touched the head chef. Suddenly, I feel like I can heal him. In an instant, a golden light flashed, and the head chef quickly opened his eyes. He was full of energy and jumped up excitedly. Whoa, I overslept. The head chef looked over, confused. Your Highness, what are you doing here? Leah was startled by the question and hesitated. The head chef's eyes lit up, and he asked, wait, what time is it? As soon as he saw the time, he panicked. No way, it's so late. There's still so much to prepare. Those guys must have messed up the dishes again. Your Highness, please excuse me. Watching the head chef run off, Leah wanted to call out to him, but it was too late. Now, she was alone in the room. She looked around blankly, then looked at her hands and clenched them. Thinking back to just now, what did I do? In any case, after much hardship, thanks to the joint efforts of everyone in the castle and the head chef's contribution, everything was prepared in just 4 days, the very day the Fritten army returned. When the army arrived at the gate, Millie excitedly pointed below. Your Highness, look over there. That's the Vanguard's flag. At this moment, a knight reported, Your Majesty, Fritten Castle is in sight. Hearing this, Miklock thought, I'm back. As the army marched, the people cheered nonstop. Long live His Majesty, Miklock. Long live Fritten. Long live. Your Majesty, please look this way. Returning here, an indescribable feeling welled up in Miklock's heart. Since my ascension, I've experienced countless battles and conquests, but today's return brings a different feeling. Why is that? Suddenly, as he looked towards the castle, his eyes widened. When he saw Leah's expectant gaze, he understood. That's right, it's Leah, because my queen is here. Just then, she jumped from above into Miklock's arms, shouting Mick. She was very worried and kept asking with concern, Are you hurt? He replied firmly, I'm fine. Hearing this, Leah couldn't help but laugh and sigh. Thank goodness. I missed his face so much. These words made Miklock a little melancholic. So she really only likes my face. But in the end, he didn't care. Oh well, that's fine too. Miklock leaned into Leah's embrace and said, I took great care to protect my face. Hearing this, Leah couldn't help but praise him. Very good. The 2 knights behind them were stunned by this scene. I never thought I'd see His Majesty like this. The castle looks different. This must be the Queen's doing. Then, the 2 knights looked to the side. What's wrong? The knights immediately shouted, Father. Hearing this, Miklock quickly looked over and saw the other knights reuniting with their families. Honey, why are you here? Are you surprised? Are you hurt? Daddy, carry me. Miklock was quite surprised, and Leah quickly explained, it's not a formal ceremony, but I thought it would be nice if the knights could see their families too. Their families must miss their sons and husbands who went to war. Then she looked at Miklock with a worried expression, as if asking, Is this okay? You've already invited them all. There's no going back now. He didn't blame her, but patted her head gratefully. Thank you. This made Leah shyly request to everyone, All right, everyone, please take a nice bath and come to the banquet hall. At this moment, William also looked over. Then he noticed Ralph and walked over to ask, Ralph, are you looking for your family? Startled by the question, he turned around and stammered, Ralph quickly covered it up and continued walking forward. No, it's nothing. They're over there. I'll go ahead, Captain. Then he walked to Millie's side and hesitantly called out, Hey, Millie. But she was busy, so she declined. I'm busy right now. We could talk later. Hearing this, Ralph quickly agreed. Okay. William's mood instantly turned cold as he watched the scene. After the banquet began, Leah was eating when she heard the news and was surprised what? His Majesty has already left the banquet hall. Colin bowed and reported, Yes, while your Highness was inspecting the banquet, he told everyone to enjoy themselves and then quietly left. She really couldn't understand, but the main course hasn't been served yet. Where's His Majesty now? He quickly replied, He's taking a bath. When Miklock arrived, he was immediately pulled away, so Leah realized with confusion that it was because of her. "Ah, he hasn't bathed yet," Colin affirmed. "Yes, it seems so." Leah thought for a moment, then casually made a request, "Then take me to him." This bold proposal startled him. "What?" Colin couldn't believe it. "Your Highness, really?" "Yes, this way." But Leah wasn't really thinking too much. She just wanted to have food ready for Mick as soon as he was finished. In Micklock's room, Leah walked forward and knocked on the door, then peeked inside. Just then, Mick Lock's voice startled her. "So it's you sneaking in." She awkwardly tried to explain, but Mick Lock reminded her, "Did you forget I'm not wearing anything?" Hearing this, she stammered, "I knocked this time. I didn't peek like last time." "Oh no, wait, I didn't peek last time either." He asked curiously. Last time, seeing Mick Lock's well-built body, Leah almost drooled, but she quickly turned around and hurriedly informed him, "The main course will be served soon, so hurry up and finish washing." Suddenly, Mick Lock raised his hand. "Speaking of which, you had a scratch on your cheek before." As he said this, he affectionately touched her cheek. This startled Leah. Mick Lock was really curious, wondering when it had disappeared. Even with medicine, it shouldn't have healed so quickly. Leah remembered being curious about it herself at the time. Could that event have happened? Maybe Mick Lock just happened to mention it. "You have some special ability, don't you?" Being questioned and touched like this, Leah was startled. Actually, because her foot slipped, Leah fell heavily towards the water, but luckily Mick Lock caught her. He stroked Leah's face and quickly made a judgment. "It seems you really do have a special power." Leah quickly denied, "No, I don't." "No." At this moment, Mick Lock suddenly stroked Leah's hair. "You said the main course is about to be served." This made Leah shy. He quickly became curious. "Is this a dish specially prepared for me?" Mick Lock's words made Leah blush. Yes. Just as they were sharing this happy moment, a commotion outside startled Colin, causing him to scold, "You insolent thing, what do you think you're doing?" The servant tried to explain, I just wanted to bring in a towel." He still prevented him from entering. "You can't come in now. This is a historic moment for the Empire." The noise outside broke the atmosphere, making Mick Lock extremely uncomfortable. Leah could only laugh helplessly. Then, she stood up and formally stated, "Unfortunately, the banquet I mentioned is for everyone. However, if you promise to come to the banquet soon and enjoy it." Having said that, Leah suddenly turned around. Then she shyly said, "I'll save a special dessert just for you, Mick." These words quickly moved Mick Lock. He immediately replied, "I'll be there soon." In the banquet hall, everyone was lively. Millie was serving water when Zynon walked over and said, "Millie, thank you for helping prepare the banquet. You should take a break too." Hearing this, she was happy. "Oh, thank you very much." Having some free time, Millie left the banquet hall. Ralph followed behind and called out to her, Millie. Being called, she turned around. Millie immediately recognized him. "Ah, Sir Ralph." He shyly greeted her, and Millie solicitously followed up. "Speaking of which, we haven't had a chance to talk before. Are you enjoying the banquet?" Ralph hurriedly replied, "Yes, I think it's quite good." She felt it was getting late and urged. "The other knights and their families have already returned to their rooms. You should go back too, Sir Ralph." But he suddenly called out to her, "Wait, Millie." Seeing that Ralph had something to say to her, Millie stopped. "What is it?" He shyly scratched his head. This is for you." Then he said, his voice trembling, "Thanks to the good luck scarf you gave me, I was able to return safely. So I wanted to thank you." Ralph handed her a gift. "Here, please don't refuse it. Take it." Millie happily opened the gift, wanting to see what it was. "Oh, what is this?" He had put a lot of thought into the gift. "It's a shawl. Fritton is much colder than where you used to live." After saying that, Ralph became a little embarrassed. "Oh, if you don't like it." But Millie praised, "It's beautiful. I've never received such a gift." Millie immediately put on the shawl and asked, "How is it? Does it look all right?" This made Ralph's heart flutter again. Then he immediately complimented her. Yes, it suits you very well." William was also hiding behind, listening to the entire conversation. Suddenly, Ralph called out again, "Millie." He looked at the gift he had prepared in his hand and felt a little ashamed. "I should go back." Just then, Ralph suggested, "Will you give me another scarf next time I go on an expedition?" Hearing this question, William crashed heavily into the door and fell to the ground, startling them both. Both of them were puzzled and called out, "Sir William." Too humiliated, he immediately ran off, leaving Millie confused. Seeing him run so fast, Millie also became hurried. "Sir Ralph, thank you very much for the gift. I'll put it to good use. I have something urgent to attend to, so I'll be going now." Her sudden urgency made Ralph even more confused. Seeing Millie run off, he wanted to call out to her, "Wait." Then he froze. He remembered. That time, Millie had asked about William's whereabouts. "By the way, do you know where Sir William is? Did he go out to do something? I didn't see him around here, Ralph smiled shyly. I knew from the beginning that it wasn't for me. Yeah, it's all over, huh? It was just a joke from the start. But why? Ralph was heartbroken at this moment because he had just fallen in love. Damn it. Millie was chasing after William, constantly calling out, Sir William. Sir William. William. Seeing her constantly chasing after him, William was embarrassed. Goodness, why are you chasing me? Millie hurriedly explained, well, you suddenly ran off, so I. But when he noticed the shawl she was wearing, his mood immediately dropped, and he denied it. What do you mean, ran off? I was just a little tired and going back to my room. Millie was now dejected. Please, whether it was just now or before the last expedition. Sir William, every time I try to find you, I can't. William was a little surprised to hear this. Wait, before the expedition too? What do you mean before the expedition? She was asked so suddenly, so she hesitated a little. Well, Millie didn't dare look William in the face and averted her gaze. Then she began to explain, it's nothing special. It's just that you mentioned before, Sir William, that there's a custom in Britain of knitting scarves for good luck. And your safety also means His Majesty's safety. So I wanted to give you a scarf, but I couldn't find you at the time, so I gave it to Sir Ralph. Understanding everything, William immediately felt ashamed. Is that so? Milia confiamit. Yes. Anyway, I'm glad you returned safely. Seeing her expression, William's heart wavered. But he was still stubborn and said, do you really think a thin scarf is enough to keep warm in Britain's cold weather? Hey, take this instead. With that, he tossed something to Millie, leaving her puzzled. Hey, what is this? As soon as she poured it out, she was truly stunned. Wait, is this a magic stone? Millie was so shocked, she didn't want to accept it. No, this is too valuable. Don't tell me. William hurriedly denied what? No, it's not like that. She quickly jumped to a conclusion. You stole it from the royal treasury, didn't you? He was about to say, well, it's from the treasury. Wait. Hearing this, Millie ran off in fright. No, I have to report your actions to His Highness. But William hurriedly chased after her to explain, wait, stop. It's not what you think. A dark energy appeared in a room, startling Xenon, who cried out, no, wait, what is this? Colin, standing beside him, hurriedly signaled him to be quiet. Shoo, he immediately warned, if you think you can survive being caught up in this, then go ahead and say something. Xenon started counting 100, 200, 300. The number shattered his glasses. Then he couldn't comprehend it. I give up. How did things turn out like this? Back in the present, Leah's face was extremely pale, her lips tightly pressed together. Looking at Mick Locke sitting in the chair, Xenon was surprised by the confrontation between the two. Were they really arguing? 2 hours earlier, while the two were taking a walk, Mick Locke couldn't help but sigh. Everything has changed so much. Hearing this, Leah smiled shyly. I don't know if I've been too meddlesome. Mick Locke didn't think so. On the contrary, he was very satisfied. Not at all. As the Queen of Britain, frankly, you did what was necessary. This reassured her somewhat. Then I won't worry so much. Actually, everything here is quite boring. It's hard to believe this is a royal palace. Haha, I understand. You're busy with the expedition campaign, right? I'll do my best to help you. Let's work together. While Leah was speaking, Mick Locke's attention was elsewhere. So she quickly called out Mick. He immediately came back to his senses and replied, yes, let's work together. Then Leah asked another question. By the way, Mick, can I ask who has been managing the palace finances so far? Since I'm about to become your partner, I need to understand this as well. Being asked this question, he became flustered. Finance. Then he turned around and replied, mostly the minister has been managing it. Leah was immediately stunned. What? Finally, her gaze quickly turned frightening. So until now, you've been letting him handle everything alone. Mick Locke still didn't think he was at fault. Why not? Back in the present, Zeno observed with his broken glasses. Then he asked, are they still arguing? Colin also affirmed, it seems they're still angry with each other. Mick Locke was still trying to explain, I've tried my best, but important matters outside cannot be ignored. However, Leah still couldn't accept it. No, even if you could, it's not right to do so. How can the ruler of a kingdom push all the responsibility onto the minister? And while you should worry about the defense budget first, you've neglected domestic issues. Mick Locke tried to explain, mentioning the management of the monster expedition and the threat of the Maya tribe's invasion. The defense budget is urgent, so I only trusted the minister as an expert to handle domestic affairs. Zeno, on the other side, felt frustrated and hungry. I'm so hungry. I wonder what's for lunch. Colin also waited expectantly. Then Leah quickly turned around, not accepting Mick Locke's approach. But no matter how professional he is, the minister can't handle everything alone. These words moved Zeno. "Oh, your majesty." Then she couldn't help but conclude, "No wonder you look so haggard. It's all because of you, Mick." These words shocked Zeno. Then he cried, but was also comforted by Colin. He wanted to say more. "That's because." But Leah interrupted him loudly. More importantly, she reiterated, "Your Majesty, because you're the ruler of Fritton, you must look more closely at internal issues." Finally, Mick Locke had to admit his mistake. "Yes, it was certainly my fault for not looking more closely at the palace. So from now on, since I have a queen by my side now, why don't we handle it together?" This suggestion, coupled with that handsome face, swayed Leah. Finally, she turned around shyly. "That's right. That's exactly what I wanted to say." Leah admonished herself. "I can't look at that charming face." Seeing the two reconcile like this, Zeno was so angry that he wanted to rush up, but Colin stopped him by his side. "Please calm down." At this time, Mick Locke sat down. Then he called out, "Wait." Leah also turned her head, wondering what was wrong. Then he started to read the report. "The warming stones used for the party, they all came from the North Palace, right?" Leah answered affirmatively. Yes." Then she explained with a smile. "Warming stones can only be used for about 3 or 4 years. It's a bit of a waste to only use them for parties." At this moment, Mick Locke was really confused. "Why would you do that?" Leah still didn't understand. "What do you mean?" Mick Locke quickly informed her. "The warming stones stored in the North Palace are all for you. I don't remember telling you to use them." Although she was a little touched, Leah retorted, "But even if they don't mean much to me, it should be up to me to decide how to use them, right? I thought warming stones were uncommon, so it's best to save some." Mick Locke said, "There's no need." Leah still didn't understand. "Why?" He quickly and eloquently stated, "Whether it's warming stones or the budget, Fritton is powerful enough not to worry about such trivial matters. That is to say, there's no need to cut down on expenses for the queen. If you had looked at the financial records, you should have known. If that's a habit, it must be corrected." Leah completely didn't understand. Habit. Mick Locke showed his understanding of Leah's character. "There's no need to hide it, Leah. I know how frugal you are. Before that, you asked Colin to dispose of most of the warming stones while I'm away, right?" He also did as she said. "Yes. Following the Queen's orders, I left what was necessary to maintain a certain temperature and returned most of them to the royal treasury." Mick Locke added, "The stones with heating, along with what was needed to maintain a certain temperature, were also reduced, especially judging from your room at the Marquis's estate. It's not a bad habit, but as Queen of Fritton, you won't have to do that anymore. During this time, you must display all the dignity befitting a queen." Hearing this, Leah suddenly spoke up. "I didn't realize I had that kind of habit." As she spoke, Leah couldn't help but shed tears. Seeing this, Mick Locke quickly stood up, but Leah said, If I've always lived in such a harsh environment, then I think it's natural that I have some habits unbefitting a queen." Mick Locke hurriedly denied it to Leah. "I didn't mean it like that." But Leah still wouldn't listen. "Your Majesty is right. As the Queen of Fritton, I have some habits that need correcting. I'm very tired. I'll go in and rest first." Saying this, Leah ignored Mick Locke and quickly left. Watching her tearful departure, his expression remained unchanged. At this moment, Zynon approached and addressed him, "Your Majesty." He asked, "Should I report the matter you instructed before your departure?" Mick Locke remembered what Zynon wanted to say. At that time, he had asked, "This is something we've been doing for years, so during the expedition, the matters of the royal palace should be easy to handle, right?" He admitted, of course. However, since Her Majesty the Queen has arrived, at least hand over the authority of the inner palace to her, right? Finally, Mick Locke made a decision. "I understand. While I'm away, I want you to support the Queen as much as possible." Zynon was startled, but obeyed nonetheless. "Yes, Your Majesty." Then he turned around. If there's anything you need me to confirm." At that time, Mick Locke had directly asked Leah, "Have you ever been treated unfairly? If so, please tell me." Now she is Leah Fritzen. Secretly investigate the Queen's past. Hearing this, Mick Locke couldn't help but feel disheartened. "So it's true. All right, go ahead." Seeing that Zynon wasn't doing as he was told, Mick Locke turned around, wondering what was wrong. Zynon didn't say much, just reported, "It seems Her Majesty the Queen did indeed suffer discriminatory treatment at Marquis Esco's estate. The Queen's mother passed away during her childhood, and not long after, Marquis Uskell adopted her. The exact reason for the adoption decision is unclear, but since then, she seems to have been the subject of scorn and oppression on numerous occasions. This marriage was also the result of a backroom deal between Marquis Uskell and His Imperial Majesty of their country." Mick Miclock recalled Leah's tearful face at the time. I have that kind of habit. If I've always lived in such a difficult environment, then I think it's natural that I have some habits unbefitting a queen. It was only then that he realized how excessive his behavior had been. Damn, it was really stupid to say that. Suddenly, Miclock unexpectedly noticed something. The plans were covered in Leah's doodles of him. Miclock picked up one of the plans, then suddenly stood up and ran out of the room. He ran so fast that he was covered in sweat, but he suddenly stopped in his tracks, standing in front of Leah's door. Miclock became hesitant again. I don't know what to say to her now. What if she gets even angrier? But when he thought of Leah's face, always cheerfully smiling and calling out Your Majesty, it seemed to give him courage. Finally, Miclock opened the door and asked, Leah, are you asleep? If you're asleep, then I apologize, but if I don't say this now, that I think I'll never have another chance. As he spoke, Miclock froze. As he saw Leah lying on the bed, there appeared to be some blood. Seeing her wrists covered in blood, Miclock cried out in shock. Leah, standing before Leah, he couldn't express his feelings at this moment. What is this? Just as he was about to step forward and embrace her, his foot kicked a wine bottle on the floor. Leah, Miclock finally realized, a wine bottle. Leah was lying drunk on the bed, unconscious, muttering in her sleep, Mick, I hate you. Knowing that it was wine on Leah, he breathed a sigh of relief, then knelt beside her. Stroking her hair, he called out, Leah. Leah seemed to sense the call and the touch, so she sleepily opened her eyes. As soon as she saw his handsome face, she called out in a daze, Mick. Leah involuntarily sat up. Mick. Then she asked in confusion, Mick, why are you here? Mick, why are you here? I told you I was sleeping if you always show up like this. Not wanting her to move around anymore, Miclock grabbed Leah's wrist and called out, Leah. Then his voice immediately became affectionate. I came because I have something to say to you. He began to explain, I don't know what kind of person you are, what your childhood was like, or what you like most. I didn't even know if those habits of yours were unconscious or for some other reason. I never meant to offend you. Leah was deeply moved by these words at this moment. Miclock continued to express, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Leah saw the look on his face, then reached out and touched his cheek, admitting, Mick, I know. Then Leah also confessed, actually, my childhood wasn't very fulfilling. Well, I know that sounds contradictory, since I'm the Marquis's daughter. And don't you already know what I like the most? As soon as she finished speaking, Leah took the initiative to kiss Miclock's forehead. Then she admitted, your face. Then she started teasing again, and my habits. This made him feel embarrassed. That. Then he pleaded, I'm sorry. Please forget it. Leah didn't seem to care much. Whatever. I don't want to torture myself anymore. Saying that, she declared, because I am Leah Fritter. But you also have to respect me, okay? I remind you, I am Leah Fritter. Miclock immediately obeyed. Okay, I understand. From now on, I will. Before he could finish, she threw herself into his arms. Yay. Miclock held her tightly to protect her, but was still worried. Leah, are you okay? Suddenly, she stopped talking, breathed a sigh of relief, then pleaded in a coquettish tone, Mick, forget about all the complicated stuff. Drink with me. Drink with me. Seeing that Miclock didn't accept, this made Leah depressed. How boring. Suddenly, Miclock's face flushed. Then he mentioned, so, about the dessert. Leah looked over, confused. Then he repeated without hesitation, what about the cake you mentioned at the victory celebration? Before leaving the bathroom, Leah had said, I'll save some for you, Mick. Recalling what she had said at the time also made Leah shy, and she quickly jumped onto the bed, pretending that nothing had happened. I'm so dizzy. I'm going to sleep. Good night, Meek. Seeing this, Miclock smiled, an idea forming in his mind. Then he jumped directly onto the bed, pinning Leah down, and teased. It seems someone said I was boring. I have to get what you promised me. Seeing his expression like this made Leah hesitate. Elsewhere, William appeared, curiously asking, I heard you were looking for me. Zeno quickly informed him. There's news from the Northern Carlin District Defense Force. Hearing this, he was a little surprised. The Carlin District. What do you mean? That's the area closest to the Wind Canyon, where many black dragons dwell. Zeno acknowledged William's thoughts. Yes, a few days ago, a large fire broke out, completely destroying a village. It seems this was the work of black dragons. Hearing this news, he couldn't believe it, but it's not their active season. They shouldn't be active for at least another month. He also admitted that's exactly what's strange. However, there was a witness. William was startled, a witness. At this point, he recounted the details. A boy snuck out to the mountains late at night without his parents' knowledge, and luckily escaped. According to the boy, the skies suddenly turned red, and when the boy looked down at the village, a huge monster was breathing fire, engulfing the village in flames. The creature had a black body and huge wings, and the beast had a long tail that looked like a saw. Hearing this description, William was certain it was a black dragon. Zeno leaned on the table and began his assessment. The extent of the damage is also worth mentioning. If it were their normal active season, they wouldn't be satisfied with just one village. It seems they launched the attack recklessly while in an abnormal state. Hearing this, William still had a question he couldn't understand, but why? Suddenly, he became serious and said, more importantly, isn't there another problem that needs to be addressed? Suddenly, Zeno adjusted his glasses. Seeing this, William also looked bewildered. Then, silence fell between the two. Breaking out in a cold sweat, he tried to avoid reporting to McLock. Why don't you report to His Majesty yourself? Zeno didn't accept this absurd proposal. Of my confidant, you should be the one to report. But William gave a reason with a wry smile. I'm only suggesting this because you receive the letters and reports, so you can ensure the information is conveyed more clearly, right? Although he said this, he was panicking inside. His Majesty is currently in the calm after the storm. Simply put, he's in the sweet phase of his relationship. Zeno also gave a reason with a wry smile. I'll give you the letters and reports. We may have to leave immediately, so it's more reasonable for you to handle the discussion. If I interfere and report the troop deployment, at this moment, both of them said in unison, then the only outcome is death. McLock was sleeping when suddenly a light shone in, startling him awake. A trembling voice came from outside. Your Majesty, I have an urgent matter to report. He asked back, what is it? Afterward, he also listened to the whole situation. So the black dragons have started moving earlier than usual and attacked a village in the Carlin district. Are you saying this might not be the end? William Estamered Y. Suddenly, McLock slammed his hand on the table, startling both William and Zeno. He felt quite depressed, then reminded him, be more careful, okay? These words made William's heart skip a beat. McLock also thought of this possibility, the black dragon. Black dragons inhabit the Wind Valley far north of Fritton. When the temperature drops below -40°C, they're the strongest beasts. If they fully develop in the extreme cold, then for about 2 months, they will be unaffected by temperature, making it extremely difficult to deal with them during that time. Even a mighty Fritton army has to tremble before their ferocity. So, if we don't blockade the entrance to Wind Valley, the ferocious black dragons will pour south, sweeping across Fritton and wreaking havoc all the way to the Haroon Empire. Thinking of this, he was somewhat puzzled, but the current temperature hasn't dropped below -20°C yet, so they couldn't have fully developed. But they still crawled out and attacked the village, which means there's another reason behind this. Immediately afterward, William added, after burning down the village, they seem to be looking for something. McLatch paused after hearing this, then asked in confusion, looking for something. He affirmed, yes, even the way it moved was unusual. If we don't stop it now, not only will there be casualties, but it could also cause diplomatic problems. Hearing this, McLatch kept tapping the table, lost in thought. This caught his attention. That's right, Fritton quickly established its foundation by controlling the black dragons in exchange for tributes from other continents. Hearing this, he exclaimed happily, is that so? That's great. McLock immediately ordered, prepare the first night order. They've just finished their extermination of the demons, so check their condition and select enough strong individuals to be put into battle. William quickly acknowledged the order. Yes, Your Majesty. When shall we depart? Then he quickly gave the time, tonight. I will personally lead this mission. William couldn't help but be greatly surprised. Hearing this, he bowed and acknowledged understood. I will follow your instructions. On Leah's side, she was putting on makeup. While combing her hair, the maid asked for her opinion. Would you like your hair up or down? Leah quickly chose down. After finishing her makeup, the maid praised, Your Highness, your fair skin is truly outstanding, very beautiful. You look so charming like this. This praise made Leah a little shy, but still very grateful. Thank you. Just then, William came running to call Leah, Your Highness. William's appearance puzzled her. What happened? His Majesty left in a hurry. William frowned and stammered. That. Seeing his expression, Leah panicked. William. Upon learning that McLock was leaving again, Leah looked very upset. McLock had only returned to the palace 4 days ago. She clutched her skirt, not understanding why this was happening. Suddenly, Millie appeared and called, Your Highness. Millie handed a handkerchief to Leah, urging, hurry, you should go now. Seeing the handkerchief in her hand, Liao was startled and realized. Millie quickly reminded, you must give His Majesty a handkerchief and wish him a safe return. Hearing this, Liao couldn't help but clutch the handkerchief tightly. That afternoon, as the army was about to depart, Liao quickly appeared to see them off. She looked down from above, and Mick Locke seemed to notice her presence. So he quickly approached Leah. She was truly very sad, Mick. Seeing Leah's expression, Mick Locke couldn't help but move closer, complimenting, you look beautiful. Are you going to stop me from leaving again today? She quickly denied, I know I can't. Leah couldn't help but hug Mick Locke tightly, causing an indescribable feeling to well up in his heart. Mick Locke was about to say something, Leah, but she let go and said, okay. Leah smiled brightly and instructed, wear this scarf. You're not allowed to get hurt while wearing it, okay? At this moment, he froze, realizing, Then he asked again, shocked, you're really just letting me go to return safely? Leah answered affirmatively, of course. Ralph, seeing the two so close, was very happy. Suddenly, a voice sounded from behind. Sir Ralph. He thought it was Millie calling him, so he turned around, Millie. But unexpectedly, an enthusiastic man hoped, you must accept this scarf. The brown-haired knight couldn't help but laugh, teasing, look at his face, he must have been looking forward to this. The man continued, I've been waiting for a man like you. The two continued to tease, making Ralph shy. When was I like that? When he looked over, he saw Millie giving William a scarf. This dampened Ralph's mood. He turned away, unable to watch any longer. Damn it. Seeing Ralph leave, the brown-haired knight asked worriedly, what should we do now? The man beside him immediately placed the blame. Hey, this is all your fault. Liao looked down from above at the departing knights, watching the Duke gradually disappear. This reminded Liao of the day everyone returned. Those memories brought a tinge of sadness to Liao. Liao was truly worried. She said to Millie, it's strange. I wasn't this worried last time. Why do I feel so uneasy about this expedition? Millie quickly gave her the answer. It's probably because your feelings have deepened. As they left the city, William didn't forget to remind Mick Locke, Your Majesty, your scarf. But Mick Locke didn't remove the scarf. Instead, she yelled quiet. She was truly heartbroken. My feelings have become stronger. The next day, as Liao was reading documents, someone informed her, Your Highness, you have a guest. Hearing this, Liao was surprised. A guest. Robbie had already arrived in front of the daunting palace. He looked up with anticipation. Liao. The moment they saw each other, Robbie couldn't help but hug her tightly. Liao was also happy to see him here. Robbie. But then she noticed Collins's discomfort, so she quickly pulled away with a forced smile. I'm glad you came, Robbie. You must be tired. Come in. Seeing the distance in Leah's demeanor, Robbie felt hurt, and then he could only scratch his head with a forced smile. After sitting down, Leah immediately asked about Robbie's father with concern. Is Earl Stone doing well? He quickly replied, well, he was planning to leave the capital and return to his territory, but now he's back to flatter His Majesty. Hearing this, she laughed. That sounds just like Earl Stone. An ambitious man. At this moment, Leah took a sip of tea and thought, am I overthinking this? It's normal for a childhood friend to visit for no particular reason. I'm really overthinking it. Then Leah spoke again. So, seeing her hesitate, Robbie was puzzled. She couldn't help but ask about the Marquis. Is everything all right in Marquis Askel's territory? After saying this, Leah realized she had asked too much. Haha, of course it's fine. I was just suddenly curious. Robbie became hesitant. Well, seeing him stammer, Leah asked curiously, what's wrong? Robbie informed her of the current situation in the Marquis' territory. Actually, Haley has become the king's concubine in your place. Liao was shocked. What? She couldn't help but clench her teeth in distress, cursing inwardly. That damned Marquis. Even if blinded by money, he shouldn't offer up his own daughter. Leah clenched her fists. Haley. She recalled being bullied by Haley in the past, when she had slapped her directly across the face and scolded, ugh, you're so annoying. Then she had demanded, hey, how many times do I have to tell you? Get out of my way. They looked up now. Then she was mocked by Haley. Acting like you belong here, you imposter. Finally, Leah seemed completely disappointed in the Marquis family. Haley, you're their true daughter. She was truly worried about Haley. Can that arrogant girl survive in the royal palace? Although this feeling wasn't pleasant, there was nothing I could do. They didn't want to think about it anymore. So she suddenly stood up and exclaimed, ugh, I've suddenly lost interest. She quickly suggested, let's do something fun. There's a place I want to take you. Robbie was a little surprised to hear this. A place. Leah smiled confidently and invited him. Yes, let's go. As soon as they arrived at the library, Robbie was stunned. Wow, this is amazing. There's so many books I've never seen before. Liao was pleased to see his expression, right? That's why I practically lived here for a while. Then Liao took out a few books and introduced them to Robbie. Look, Robbie, there are even the books we used when we studied with Professor Pallet. His eyes lit up and he affirmed, oh, you're right. Suddenly, Liao remembered Professor Pallet's handsome face. Seeing these things reminds me of the time we spent in his class. Then Robbie remembered something. Speaking of which, I actually ran into Professor Pallet last month. Liao asked curiously after hearing this. Really? How is he doing? He quickly informed her of his recent situation. He's retired and living a simple life in a nearby village. I brought him some things, but he only accepted food, nothing else. She couldn't help but laugh after hearing this, sighing, that sounds just like him. Well, that's part of his charm. Then Robbie asked, Liao, by the way, where is the King of Fritten? I should pay my respects to him as well. Liao hesitated after hearing this. Meek. Just hearing Leah's way of addressing him, Robbie's jaw almost dropped. You call him by his first name. Seeing Robbie's surprise, Liao stopped him. Wait. Then he realized something. Wait. Then Robbie asked, almost accusingly, he went on an expedition and left you here alone. Liao confirmed worriedly, yeah. She was now thinking, maybe I shouldn't mention it because of the Black Dragon incident. After thinking it over, Liao tried to be considerate of McLock. Okay, he's busy, so there's no other way. But Robbie didn't accept that. Even so, he started to think about Miklock leaving Liao alone in a foreign country, just to keep pursuing battles. The rumors must be true. He really is a warmonger. So Liao must be staying in Fritten because she's terrified of him. Thinking of this, his mood quickly plummeted. Liao noticed that detail. So Robbie really doesn't like Mick, huh? Considering their first meeting. Suddenly, she clenched her fists. All right, let's do this. Okay, here, I'll show Robbie all of Mick's good points. Robbie, on the other hand, decided on something else. I have to help Liao escape from him. Round 1, begin. As soon as they sat down at the table, Robbie started asking Liao, His Majesty is always away like this. You must always eat alone. Hearing this, Liao answered while eating, well, yes, pretty much. Mick often goes out on expeditions. Hearing this, Robbie became more and more certain. That's right, Liao must be lonely here. But then she added, but whenever Mick is in the palace, we always eat together. Robbie paused after hearing this. Is that so? So the attack failed. At this time, Liao, while eating, told him about Miklock's preferences. Mick's favorite dish is asparagus steak, but he absolutely won't eat cucumbers just like you, Robbie. Those words really frustrated Robbie. Really, she was happy because they had something in common, so maybe Robbie would feel closer. And Robbie lost the first round. On to round 2. As soon as they walked outside, Robbie shivered. Fritten is so cold. How can anyone live here? Liao was a little surprised to hear this. Robbie, are you cold? Then he became flustered. I guess so. Fritten is indeed very cold. Seeing Leah's expression, Robbie thought he was about to win. That's right, Liao. Let's leave this cold place and go back south together. But as soon as they went inside, a wave of warm air hit him, leaving him speechless. Liao said excitedly, but look, Robbie, it's super warm in the greenhouse. And these yellow roses, Mick planted them all for me. Isn't he thoughtful? Robbie seemed unable to answer. Is that so? Is that so? Then Liao added, oh, right, I picked some because they reminded me of you. Robbie lost the second round. Next is the third round. Robbie consoled himself. Okay, calm down. Liao might not honestly say she wants to escape, so he started to speak. But Liao, recently I've been putting cucumbers on my face when I sleep. Liao was a little surprised to hear this. Oh, really? Then Robbie started to use his looks to attack. How do I look? Do I look better than before? He was excited because Leah's weakness was handsome men, so if he became more attractive, she might go with him. Hearing this, Liao quickly jumped up to take a look. Let me see. But as she got closer, Robbie became shy. The two stared at each other. After a while, Liao quickly complimented him. Your skin is so smooth. I should do that for Mick too. These words really petrified Robbie completely. He froze completely, then exclaimed, amazing. Liao was still wholeheartedly devoted to Miklock's good looks. If Mick became more handsome, then Robbie would like him too. Just like that, the petrified Robbie completely lost. The two played from morning to afternoon. Then Liao wondered, by the way, in Fritten, there's a black horse called Bloodstorm, right? Yes, Bloodstorm is Mick's horse. Anyway, that horse. As they walked, Robbie suddenly stopped and then reminded Liao enough. She turned around, confused. She immediately approached with concern. What do you mean by that? At this time, Robbie said, "Do you know what everything you've told me since you came here has been about? It's all about the King of Fritton." I wanted to explain, I just thought you and Mick. But Robbie didn't care about that. "I don't care about your husband's dietary preferences, nor how great he is." Seeing that he was about to turn and leave, Leah quickly stopped him, "Robbie." But he didn't want to listen anymore. He made up his mind. "I'm going back to my room. If you need anything." Before Robbie could leave, Leah quickly stopped him. "Robbie, wait." Then Leah said, "Don't tell me. Could it be that you—" Robbie thought Leah had realized something, so he was very worried. Damn, did she find out? Of course, I was being too obvious. He was about to confess, "Yes, the truth is." But unexpectedly, Leah blurted out, "I know. You want to get closer to Mick." These words completely stunned Robbie. Seeing that she had misunderstood so deeply, he wanted to stop her. "Wait, Leah, what are you talking about?" But Leah didn't listen at all, continuing to be immersed in her own thoughts. "No, I understand. You definitely want to ask him yourself, but I told you about Mick first, so you must be uncomfortable. Friends should naturally get to know each other, but I was too ignorant. It makes sense. He's your best friend's husband." Robbie was trembling with anger. "It's not like that." But Leah kept chattering, "So you're still thinking about how things ended that day and decided to make friends with him this time, right?" He wanted to say, "I just said." "It's not like that," he started to say. But before he could get any further, Leah cupped Robbie's face in her hands and said reassuringly, "Don't worry, Robbie." She affirmed, "I'll have a good talk with Mick when he gets back." Robbie, embarrassed, stammered, "Wait, this is too close." Leah kept rambling on with unnecessary remarks like, "You're such a kind and wonderful friend," and "I had such a great time in her room, all thanks to my only friend." Hearing these words felt familiar to him. Then she continued, "Once Mick realizes what a wonderful friend you are, he'll definitely like you. Where you two can become friends and spend time together with cucumber slices on your faces. Okay." He pulled Leah's hands away from his face. "You." Then he exclaimed, "Let go of me." Robbie was truly heartbroken. She really didn't understand his feelings at all. Seeing Robbie so distraught, Leah still couldn't understand. Robbie's still uncomfortable after all. At that moment, she glanced away. Then she said, "Robbie, if you want to go back and rest, I won't stop you. But before you do, please come to my study." The sudden invitation to her study surprised him. "What? Your study? Why?" Leah didn't say anything. She just smiled brightly. Once in the study, Leah kept looking for something. "Where did I put it?" While Leah searched, Robbie, having nothing else to do, looked around. So this is Leah's study. She's definitely living better here than at the Marquis's mansion. That means all her previous praises about King Micklock of Fritton were sincere. If that's true, then I, lost in thought, he was interrupted by Leah's voice. Found it. Robbie couldn't understand. "What were you looking for?" Leah then held out a brooch. "I was going to—" He accepted the brooch with some confusion. "A brooch," Leah explained. "I was going to send it with a letter, but I heard you were coming, so I thought it would be better to give it to you in person. It's not very expensive, but I bought it with most of my allowance." These words truly touched Robbie. Then Leah quickly requested, "But don't tell anyone I have an allowance, okay?" Robbie accepted the brooch, but there was still something he hadn't received. "What about the letter?" Leah was taken aback by his question. Robbie didn't forget to repeat, "You said you were going to send it with a letter. Where's the letter?" Hearing this, she turned away, her face pale. That letter, she thought, if I say I forgot to write it, he'll definitely sulk again. So she stammered, "Oh, I did write the letter, but I think I lost it. I promise. I'll write another one and send it to you later." This quickly aroused Robbie's suspicion. "I knew it. It must have been King Micklock. He never liked us being close from the beginning. It's so obvious." Seeing his bad mood, Leah panicked. "You don't like it." Robbie quickly denied it. No, I mean, I like it." He immediately pinned the brooch to his clothes. Then he smiled and asked Leah, "So how does it look?" She looked at it and immediately praised, "It suits you perfectly." Afterward, Leah continued to flatter him. "This brooch is like the finishing touch. It brightens up your whole face." These words made Robbie feel like he was drowning in honey. After appeasing Robbie, Leah asked, "So you're not angry anymore?" He was taken aback by the question. Then he finally remembered. "All right, I was angry." Leah stammered. "Like I said, I'll talk to Mick when he gets back." But Robbie quickly refused. "No, there's no need." This saddened her. "Oh, really?" Having finished talking about her matters, Leah beckoned and requested, "Let's talk about you now, come here." Robbie was surprised. "Me?" As Robbie approached and sat beside her, Leah quickly said, "You said I only talk about myself, so how have you been lately? Still spending all your time in the library?" He quickly replied, "Me? Not really. I haven't been going as much lately." Leah was a little surprised to hear this. "What? But we always used to go there together." Robbie revealed, "Well, it's just not as fun as it used to be." Leah asked worriedly, still avoiding social gatherings, "Haven't any young ladies caught your eye?" by. But as he looked at Leah, Robbie felt uncomfortable. Leah, do you realize how boring my life has been lately? Hearing this question, he quickly revealed, young ladies. None at all. Seeing Robbie so bored, Leah immediately suggested, oh please, that's so boring. Robbie mused, after you left, I really realized. Leah immediately paled. Are your standards too high? Is there really no one who catches your attention? You're worse than me. Even small things make me happy. He readily admitted without objection, well, I suppose my standards are a bit high, because I have you. As the sky grew darker, Robbie walked down the hallway, unconsciously paying attention to his appearance. Then he remembered Leah's compliment. Really, it suits you perfectly. You look really handsome. But this was all in Robbie's imagination. Robbie started to think, so yellow suits me. Then he hesitated. Maybe I should change my style. Leah would. Just as he was about to return to his room, Robbie saw Millie. He quickly called out Millie. Seeing him, Millie immediately greeted, Master Robbie. Good evening. Robbie walked forward and asked, I've been busy lately and haven't had a chance to greet you properly. How are you? Millie replied with certainty, yes, of course. But it's so late. Why aren't you asleep yet? He confessed, actually, I was looking for you. Hearing that Robbie was looking for her, she asked, puzzled, looking for me. Then Robbie hesitated, wanting to know, can you tell me the truth about Leah? Is King Fritten threatening her? Millie didn't understand what Robbie meant. Threatening. He began to speculate. Yes, threatening. Leah has been praising King Fritten all day. His looks are definitely her type. Even so, King Fritten is a tyrant and a warmonger. Leah couldn't possibly like being forced to marry someone like that. Suddenly hearing this, Millie couldn't help but laugh. Then she exclaimed, so Her Majesty was just praising His Majesty. How cute. Seeing Millie's reaction so perplexing, Robbie felt worried. He called out Millie. She quickly revealed, but it makes sense. The way King Miklock looks at Her Majesty. It's like she's the most precious thing in the world. The love of a talented man and a beautiful woman. Robbie still didn't understand what she was saying. Millie began to add, before he left for the war, the two of them were practically inseparable, not wanting to be apart for even a minute. The more he listened, the more panicked he became. Wait, are you saying they slept together? She confirmed this, adding, of course, they haven't left their chambers for 3 days. These words truly shocked Robbie. He tried to calm himself down. Impossible. That man must have forced Leah. Millie hurriedly denied. No, Master, you may not have noticed, but they are truly in love. His Majesty is so good to Her Majesty. Even those of us around them can't help but feel warmed. The more he listened, the more Robbie seemed unable to bear it. He stopped her, stop it. But she didn't listen, continuing, sometimes just watching them makes my heart race. Seeing that she wouldn't listen and kept chattering, Robbie felt very uncomfortable and shouted loudly, stop it. Seeing Robbie's intense reaction, Millie became worried. Master, he seemed to not want to listen anymore and turned to leave. Millie, I'm tired. I'm going back. Hearing this, she could only watch him leave. Yes, Master. Please take care. Watching Robbie leave, Millie couldn't understand. Why did he suddenly act like that? Robbie walked down the hallway, determined not to believe it. Impossible. Leah falling in love with that bastard. Non, impossible, absolutely impossible. Just then, Robbie remembered his childhood. As soon as he stepped into the garden, he discovered, here it is. As he crawled into the bushes, he was puzzled. How did the ball roll here? But just then, Robbie lowered his head and immediately spotted the startled Leah. Then he took the initiative to speak to her. What's your name? Seeing Leah didn't answer, Robbie sat beside her, observing. Is she shy? She won't say a word. Judging by her clothes, she seems to be a noble. But who is she? I'm always being scolded by my father for not being able to remember all the families. How could there be a noble lady I don't recognize? Her hair color is really unique, and she's very beautiful. When Leah looked over with tears in her eyes, Robbie shyly turned his head away. Oh dear. Back then, he was really shy when facing a girl he had just met. Back in the present, as Robbie looked at the brooch in his hand, he remembered Millie's certain tone. They are truly in love. Robbie kept asking himself, Leah, that's not true, is it? Is it? The next morning, Millie kept asking, Your Majesty, how about this necklace? Leah didn't know how to choose either. I'm not sure. Millie was truly envious. His Majesty gave you so much jewelry and clothing before he left. Just matching the outfits is enough trouble. Leah laughed, finding it to be true. Then Millie decided, all right, Then let's try something else. Then she started to get creative. Perhaps purple would suit you, Your Majesty. Or should we choose something bold and eye-catching? Leah was also considerate, and she quickly refused. Forget it. I'll just choose a simple necklace. But just then, Colin rushed in, shouting, Your Majesty. Seeing him so panicked, Leah was confused. Colin, what's wrong? Colin wouldn't barge in without knocking. Colin urgently reported, Your Majesty, the delegation from the Milo Kingdom has arrived. Hearing this, Leah realized, oh, now that you mention it, I remember. The steward did say the Milo Kingdom's delegation would arrive. Leah calmly replied, they're earlier than expected. Is there a reason? He immediately revealed, the steward has already inspected the tributes and verified the receipts according to procedure. But the princess, the representative of the delegation, suddenly requested to see Your Majesty. So now that His Majesty isn't here, what should we do? Before this, Shane, smiling, made a request. In that case, could you arrange a room for me? We'll have to stay at Fritton Palace until His Majesty returns. Then she started flirting. I came here to offer the treasures His Majesty left in Milo. I have to return them to him anyway. If possible, please arrange a room close to His Majesty's chambers. The chief attendant urged me to quickly escort the queen to the reception room. Leah hurriedly interrupted and called out to Millie, then, with a competitive spirit, said, this seems a bit too plain. Millie agreed. Yes. Which one should we choose then? Leah reluctantly ordered, let me see, bring the most extravagant one. Meanwhile, Shane remained leisurely and composed. She sipped her tea casually, then curled her lip, looking at them with disdain. Fritton doesn't seem to be anything special. The chief attendant seemed to panic at just one sentence and immediately went to inform the queen. Xenon was very hesitant. Treasures from Milo. Could it be? Quickly, invite the queen. Shane displayed an air of disdain. It's no exaggeration to say the chief attendant is acting like this, because the queen is just as impatient as he is. As soon as this thought crossed her mind, the announcement came. Her Majesty, the Queen. Shane looked over, utterly astonished. What is this? Leah's beauty at that moment was irresistible to Shane. She was even more beautiful than I am after transforming. Leah, lifting her head, saw Shane standing up and thought, so this is why the king of Fritton wasn't captivated by me before. No, but perhaps she's just beautiful on the outside. Thinking this, Shane immediately greeted her with a smile. Well then, allow me to greet Your Majesty, the Queen. Leah also stepped forward to welcome her. Welcome, Princess Shane. King Clock is currently away, so I'm here to greet you in his stead. Shane acknowledged this. Yes, I've heard, so I intend to stay in Fritton until he returns. But upon hearing this, she covered her mouth with an insincere laugh. I heard the Milo delegation's purpose was to offer tributes, but it seems you have another motive. Shane retorted, not to be outdone, because the farewell in Milo was so abrupt, I want to take this opportunity to chat. What we entertained him with that night was quite rare. I personally wanted to see him again, to serve him again. Shane was incredibly smug and self-satisfied. You know I'm more beautiful than you, right? Hearing this, Leah simply responded with a radiant smile. I understand. Shane was thrilled. How about it? My super beautiful, heart-melting smile. Just then, Leah suddenly spoke, but in Milo, guests sometimes seem to be given things they never asked for. These words made her uncomfortable. So, no longer restraining herself, she exclaimed, never asked for. Whether he wanted it or not, I'll ask His Majesty directly. Leah was somewhat curious. If the service the princess mentioned is truly as rare and wonderful as you say, is it really necessary to ask directly, Princess Shane? Suddenly, Leah stepped closer and placed her hand on Shane's shoulder. Then she whispered, then why did my husband fall into my arms so eagerly? These words left Shane speechless, her whole body trembling, unable to retort. Leah quickly ordered, please escort the delegation to the private rooms in the South Palace and ensure their comfort during their stay. Xenon promptly obeyed. Yes, Your Majesty. Leah didn't forget to add, if they're so eager to see His Majesty, I should arrange an audience for them. Finally, Leah turned back and reminded them, by the way, His Majesty is away on an expedition, so it's unclear when he'll return. Please feel free to stay as long as you need. Watching Shane's annoyed expression, she began to ponder, so she was within clock before he met me. But as Leah recalled the scene of the two of them intimately holding hands and embracing, and remembering that loving gaze, she became uncomfortable. Well then, please rest well. Leah refused to believe it. It couldn't have happened. When she reached her room, Shane, furious, threw everything around and cursed incessantly. So annoying. She's so lucky. She's of noble birth and the queen. Gelman hurried to stop her. Please calm down, Princess Shane. But she seemed unable to compose herself. How can I calm down? He thought to himself. Could you have actually fallen for King Fritten? Hearing this question, Shane gasped in surprise. What? Then she cursed frantically. Are you crazy? Would I like a man who doesn't even acknowledge my beauty? I'm just annoyed that I lost to that queen's face. Gelman felt utterly helpless after hearing this. I knew it. Suddenly, Shane yelled, "Answer me, Gelman." He was confused. What are you talking about? She suddenly grabbed Gelman's collar and asked seriously, her and me, who is more beautiful? He seemed to succumb to her, stammering, "Why, yes." Then he shyly affirmed, "Of course, your highness is more beautiful." Shane immediately retorted, "You hesitated just now. You paused." Gelman tried to explain, "No, I was just momentarily captivated by your highness's beauty, so I was a little distracted." Hearing this, Shane, then she straightened his collar and released him. "Fine, since you say so, I'll let you off the hook this time." "Thanks." After letting go of Johann, Shane still turned away, muttering incessantly, "Humph, if it weren't for father's orders, I would never swallow this so easily. I will defeat that woman and take my place beside King Clock." Gelman stepped forward and asked, "Do you really plan to wait for him to return? You don't even know when he'll be back." She sat down on a chair irritably. "Ugh, this is so annoying. Who would have thought he'd go off to war? Speaking of which, the rumors about the king doting on the queen must be exaggerated. Otherwise, how could he leave the queen again so soon after returning? Just you wait. Once he's back, I'll seduce him for sure." Suddenly, Johann adjusted his glasses and affirmed solemnly, "Absolutely no problem." Meanwhile, King Haroon wasn't attending to state affairs, but was amusing himself with his concubines. He come here. Good. Just as he was enjoying himself, a guard entered to report, "Your Majesty, Princess Haley has personally brought you tea again today." He was startled. "Haley?" The king immediately refused. "Can't you see I'm busy? Tell her to come back later." But by then, Haley had already entered, her voice sweet and alluring, "Your Majesty." She reminded him with a smile, "I'm here." You know, when His Majesty smelled that red smoke, he became completely infatuated. Oh, he stood up to greet Haley. "You're here. If you had waited any longer, I would have come to find you myself." Haley quickly replied, "Hee, but with you thinking of me so much, how could I just wait here?" The king strode forward and said, "Come, sit down." She said happily, "Hee, thank you." Seeing this, the two concubines left. After they sat down, he immediately praised her. "The tea you brew is so delicious. I've been craving it lately." Haley, upon hearing this, confirmed, "Oh my, really? I'm so glad. It's my honor to know that my tea pleases your Majesty. If so, then all my efforts have been worth it." The king reached out and caressed her. "But yes, in any case, Haley, you are truly beautiful today." At this moment, Haley felt very pleased with herself for being able to control him. But as soon as she returned to her room after finishing her business, Haley immediately ordered Yulon, "Prepare a bath at once." She felt uncomfortable all over. That shriveled old man is as clingy as a leech. It gives me goosebumps." Yulon respectfully replied, "Your Highness, the bath is ready." Hearing this, Haley smiled and praised, "It's ready already. I knew you were the most reliable, Yulon. I'll go bathe now then." Yulon asked, "Your Highness, do you need anything else?" Haley quickly added, "All right, I noticed the perfume is almost gone. Can you get some more?" Yulon quickly took the empty bottle. "Of course. Please give me the bottle." Then she asked curiously, "But honestly, how did you find such a strange thing? It's disgusting, but ever since I started using this perfume, that old man has been completely infatuated with me. If I appear a few more times, he'll be like a dog, coming running at my beck and call." Yulon was pleased. "Your Highness's happiness is my happiness." Haley was still a bit curious. "But do I really have to deliver tea every day? We already have the perfume. What's the big deal?" Yulon immediately explained, "The perfume's effect is only temporary. It only works when he smells it directly. The tea may take some time to take effect, but once he's addicted, he won't be able to live without it. It's very potent. Its addictive properties will protect you in times of danger, Your Highness. Please bear with it a little longer. Just think of it as taking precautions." Finally, Haley had to accept it. "Fine, do as you say." Suddenly, she praised, "Ever since I met you, everything has been going so smoothly. Truly, life is finally looking up." These words made Yulon pause for a moment. Then she said, "You seem truly content with how things are now." Haley, seemingly consumed by greed, immediately denied it. Content. How could I be? It's far from over. My plan hasn't even begun. With Clock, William immediately told the child, show some respect. This is King Clock. The child immediately hesitated. Hello. Clock stepped forward to inquire about the situation. So, can you tell me what happened that night? The boy then recounted what he had witnessed. After dinner, I snuck out to the hill behind the house to avoid my parents. Then suddenly, a huge monster appeared in the sky, breathing fire. In an instant, the entire village was engulfed in flames. He asked curiously, why did you sneak out there at that time? The boy immediately explained, that's because my friend said he had something really amazing to show me. Clock was puzzled. Something amazing. At this, the boy said with a smile, yeah, it was a super mysterious looking ball. There were two of them, transparent, emitting a soft glow about the size of a fist. My friend said they were baby dragon eyes. Pretty cool, right? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Ralph couldn't help but exclaim, what? You never told us about this. The boy stammered, well, you didn't ask either. How was I supposed to know? Then Clock further inquired, so what did you do with them? The boy hurriedly replied, we buried them under the biggest tree on the hill. My friend said, we absolutely couldn't let the adults find out. He quickly gestured for William to look for the eyes. The boy continued his story, then the monster burned down the entire village, so I can't go back. But at that time, my friend said something I didn't understand while laughing. Humans will never forget this hatred. These words surprised Clock. He grabbed the boy's shoulders, wanting confirmation. What's your friend's name? The boy was startled by the question. After hearing everything, William couldn't understand how the heir of the Mayan tribe could appear in that place. Besides the name, we know nothing about Ludik. At this moment, Clock gritted his teeth and repeated, his name is Ludik Mayan, the heir of the Mayan tribe. Before this, Clock further inquired, how did you meet him? The boy immediately said, about a month ago, Ludik fainted outside the village. He said he was attacked by bad people, so we hid him in the village. Then he asked, what does Ludik look like? The boy replied, he's about my height, with red eyes and a big scar on his face. Ralph was truly puzzled. Could he have really dug out the baby dragon's eyes just to lure your majesty here? Clock didn't rule out any possibility. If he is the last survivor of a slaughtered tribe, living only for revenge, then he's capable of anything. William left for a moment, then ran in shouting, your majesty. We dug in the spot the boy mentioned and found this. He held a bundle in his hand. Clock seemed to recognize it as soon as he saw it. Then he immediately affirmed, this is definitely the black dragon's eyeball. He thought, only one, where's the other one? William didn't know either. We could only find this, Also, all the trees around there have been cut down, and they all point in the same direction, northeast. It looks like someone deliberately marked the route. Hearing this, Clock quickly instructed William, pick 10 knights, we're going after him. Preserve the blue ice, seal it safely. William hurriedly stopped him. This is clearly a trap. You should bring more knights from Wind Valley. But Clock wouldn't listen. Even if it's not fully grown, a dragon is still a dragon. After losing an eye, it will definitely be even more ferocious. We can't weaken Wind Valley's defenses. William had no choice but to obey, understood. At this moment, he made a judgment. That child is no ordinary person. Princess Shane can change her appearance at will. You might be able to do the same. Suddenly, the boy said loudly. Seeing the boy's reaction, Clock was confused. What's wrong? The boy immediately asked doubtfully, Ludik, did he do something wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. Ludik lost his family because of bad people. He said he wanted to punish them, so we should punish bad people too. Suddenly, Clock stepped forward and patted the boy's head. You're right. Then he smiled and affirmed, I'll talk to Ludik personally. I'll handle this, don't worry. After speaking, he quickly ordered Ralph, protect this child. Yes, your majesty. Clock ordered, we'll head northeast. We've received their invitation. We must pay them a proper visit. Upon arriving at their destination, Clock was quickly stunned. What in the world is going on? William immediately stepped forward and asked, wait, hey, what happened here? A woman, upon seeing the knights, pleaded, Sir Knights, you've come, thank goodness. My children, please help me find my children. William was confused. Your children. The woman immediately recounted. Just last night, they were sleeping soundly, but this morning they all disappeared. I've searched the entire village, but there's no trace of them. But just then, a loud shout warned, be careful what you say. Don't be disrespectful to the Sir Knights. He introduced himself as soon as he appeared. I'm the village chief. If you don't mind, would you be willing to hear what happened? Clock quickly stepped forward and asked directly, how many children are missing? The village chief quickly gave the number, 13. All 13 children in the village disappeared overnight. He frowned upon hearing this news. First the adults, now the children. These monsters are truly beasts. Clock began to inquire, have any strangers been to the village recently? Most likely his name is Ludik Mayan. The village chief quickly asked in confusion, Ludik, are you talking about the young man with the terrifying power? He became more and more confused as he listened. Terrifying power. The village chief quickly affirmed, yes, he came from outside the village, so we were very cautious. But after seeing him break the ice on the Dallin River in seconds and fill the buckets with water, we hired him. Now that you mention it, he always fetches water at dawn, but he didn't show up today. Do you think he did it? Clock wasn't sure of anything. We'll find out soon enough. Where is he? The village chief quickly revealed, there's an abandoned cabin at the end of the Dallin River. I believe he lives there. Clock felt extremely uneasy. Damn it, that's the exact road we just passed. Is he toying with us? He quickly ordered, let's go out again. The knights immediately replied in unison, as you command, your majesty. At this, the village chief was stunned. Wait, your majesty. Are you referring to King Clock? The woman suddenly ran over and shouted, Chief. Then she announced, Chief, I found my child. My Junie. The village chief turned around in surprise. What? Where is Junie? The woman held her daughter, crying her eyes out. I heard a faint cry and went up to the attic. She was hidden in a basket in the corner of the room. Oh, thank the goddess. It must be the goddess protecting us. Even so, the village chief still didn't understand why they would leave only one child out of 13. But in any case, thank the goddess we found Junie. Suddenly, the village chief realized something. Then he quickly thought, this means only 12 children are missing. If someone spread the wrong number, who knows how this misinformation will be used? I must report this to His Majesty immediately. On the other side, Clock observed the place where Ludik had been staying and frowned. TSK. Then he looked at the marks on the ice and thought. He broke the ice on the river to get water. Clock stood up, certain of one thing. No one can do this without fire magic. Suddenly, William shouted, Your Majesty, look over there. Over there. That must be the cabin the village chief mentioned. As he ran towards the house, Clock warned, the ice might crack. Cross the river in groups. A cry for help suddenly came from inside the house. Please save us. Suddenly, Clock turned around, making William worried. Your Majesty, why are you suddenly going somewhere else? He went forward and kicked the door open, then quickly found the children tied up and crying. Please save us. William wanted to rush in and save the children. It's the children. We must save them immediately. But Clock stopped him. Wait. He looked at the carriage hanging over the cliff. Clock immediately warned. It seems he calculated the weight and tied the children up. One wrong move is enough to send them straight down. Below the cliff was a bottomless abyss of deep water. So William decided, we need to tie the carriage to a nearby tree with a rope. But there were no trees around, which made him even more uneasy. Damn it, he must have calculated all of this. Clock immediately ordered, call all 10 knights over here. William didn't know what Clock was planning. Yes, sir. What do you mean? Clock, now looking outside, commanded, make sure the carriage doesn't fall off the cliff. Hold on tight. Seeing Clock risking his life like this, William was worried and hurriedly stopped him. Wait, your majesty. He immediately ordered the knights, grab the carriage. You go grab the carriage. Clock went inside and asked the children, are you all right? A child quickly replied, yes. William was scared to the point of tears, but he still didn't forget his mission. Completely dismantle the carriage door. When the children come out, carefully catch them. He cursed in his mind, damn it, that lunatic wants me dead. Shortly after the children were rescued, Clock quickly ordered, come and check on the children's condition. After checking for a while, William quickly reported, they're all fine. We have 12 now. Adding the last child, it matches the reported number. At this moment, a person ran over. Then, panting heavily, he announced, Sir Knight, it's wrong. William was confused. What's wrong? Who is it? The person wanted to say, Sir Knight, the number of missing children is not 13, but 12. These words startled Clock, and then he remembered the red-haired child tied up inside. Thinking, then who is that child? On Ralph's side, he couldn't see the boy now, so he asked the other knights, hey, where did that kid go? The other knights didn't seem to know either. I don't know. Isn't he there? Back on Clock's side, he came to the tied-up child, Humph. Then he looked into Ludik's eyes and thought, aren't you the heir of the Mayan tribe? You arranged all of this because you want to have a proper talk with me. At this moment, Ludik became resentful. I lost all my family. I won't forgive you. As soon as he finished speaking, a dazzling golden light emanated from the boy, then quickly exploded and plummeted straight down. Back to Robbie. After a sleepless night, he looked haggard. In the end, I couldn't even take a nap, even then. Even so, she still looked so happy. Finally, he sat curled up and admitted, well, thinking about it now, he really is handsome. Should I really be happy for Leah? For her happiness? But Robbie was still very confused. No matter how much I think about it, I can't find the answer. Millie's voice came from outside. Young master, are you awake? I'm here to inform you that the queen invites you to dinner. Robbie was surprised to hear this. Leah, and then he left the room elated. That's right, wallowing in sadness won't solve anything. The one here now isn't that brat, it's me. Maybe Millie misunderstood something. I have to hear it directly from Leah. As Robbie looked out the window, he saw Leah, and he thought, isn't that Leah? Didn't she invite me to dinner? Ah, she must be taking a walk, because she didn't expect me to come this early. Robbie quickly changed direction. I'll go first, startling the maid. Ah, the dining room is in that direction. At this moment, Robbie made up his mind and ran downstairs. But how should I persuade Leah? I have to look more handsome, so from now on, I'll gradually express my feelings to her. Thinking of this, he smiled brightly and called out, Leah. Robbie asked, why are you here? Then he quickly stepped back and screamed, leaving Shane bewildered. What's wrong? He pointed at her, stammering, why is it you? Seeing Robbie's expression, Shane felt very uncomfortable. Hey, I'm the one who should be shocked. What are you shocked about? Then she quickly realized something. Wait, did you just mention Leah? I see, what a sly woman. Seeing her friend being slandered, he immediately got angry. Who are you talking about? At this moment, Shane introduced herself. I am Princess Shane, the representative of the delegation. From the Milo Kingdom. Who are you anyway? You just harassed me. Robbie was suddenly accused. So he quickly retorted, harassed. I'm Robbie of the Stone family of the Haroon Empire. Then he quickly apologized. I'm very sorry for my rudeness earlier. I mistook you for someone else. Shane didn't seem to care much. Oh well, although I'm not innocent either. You've got some nerve, coming all the way here while the king is away. Robbie was confused. What do you mean by that? Shane quickly gave him the answer. Why are you so defensive? We're in the same boat, you know. Maybe you should be more friendly. He still didn't understand what she was trying to say. The same boat. What do you mean? Shane didn't say much more and expressed understanding. You can't fool anyone. I can see right through you. Then she bluntly declared, I'm vying for the position of King Freed's lover, but soon I'll ascend to the throne of queen. Although the king is a bit distant towards me, he'll fall for me soon enough. What about you? These words shocked Robbie. What? He stammered. Warehouse, what do you mean? What's wrong with my situation? At this moment, Shane said, I said I understand your situation. Then she fabricated a story. You're the queen's secret lover, right? Don't just be satisfied with that. Why not aim for the position of that woman's husband? Robbie still seemed to be pretending he didn't understand anything. What are you talking about? Shane quickly provoked. Here it comes. The typical shallow pride of a secret lover. Well, if you need help, just say it. It would be great if we could help each other in this situation. With that, she left, leaving Robbie alone with his head full of confused thoughts. Me, the queen's secret lover. Where did this crazy theory come from? But wait, who is that woman? Is she really the king's lover? Wait, doesn't that mean that guy is playing Leah? As soon as Shane returned, she angrily threw off her dress and shouted, what a hateful woman, huh? The more I think about it, the more absurd it seems. Gelman seemed to have seen something, so he couldn't help but blush. Then he turned around and asked, what happened? You're imitating the queen's fashion to cater to the king's taste. Shane quickly gave up. Forget it. I don't want to imitate a woman who pretends to be nice in front of people, but does whatever she wants behind their backs. Gelman was confused. Behind their backs. What do you mean? She spoke again, narrating, I'm talking about that queen. Even when the king leaves the palace, she brings her lover over from her country. These words shocked him beyond belief. What? Impossible. How can you say that? Shane quickly gave an explanation. I saw that guy with my own eyes. They were holding each other tightly, as if they couldn't be separated. He mistook me for that woman, and even tried to hug me. She gritted her teeth and rebuked. I bet King Miklock doesn't know anything. If he knew, he definitely wouldn't let this go. From that day on, the queen, down to those lowly maids, I've always been uncomfortable with the way they secretly looked down on me. So now what should I do with her? Thinking of this, she revealed a sinister smile. Over here, Leah walked up and called out to Robbie. Then she reproached, why did you take so long? Did you oversleep or something? Hearing this, Robbie stammered, yeah, I guess I was a little tired. Seeing his expression, Leah wanted to cheer him up. Why do you look so listless? I was just kidding. Actually, I was a little hungry, so I had some snacks. Robbie was surprised. Snacks? Now I feel guilty. Leah hurried to say, it's okay. It was raspberry cookies, my favorite, so I'm happy. As soon as he saw those cookies, Robbie's eyes immediately turned red. Then he remembered a scene from his childhood where Robbie gave Leah cookies. Hey, I brought this, planning to sneak in later, want to try some. As soon as she saw what he was holding, she said in surprise, raspberry cookies. Hearing Leah's tone, Robbie misunderstood that you don't like them. Those were the cookies Leah's mother had made for her. Leah, come here, are you hungry? Mommy made delicious cookies. These are your favorite raspberry cookies. When Leah picked up a cookie to eat, she burst into tears, worrying Robbie. Why are you crying? Did you bite into some sand? But unexpectedly, she cried even harder, causing Robbie to cry too, apologizing profusely. Don't cry, I'm sorry. After a while, Robbie finally understood while Leah was sitting there crying. So you ran here because that girl named Haley bullied you. Robbie felt angry for Leah. What the hell? If that's the case, why did that man bring you here? He must be a jerk. Hearing this, Leah asked, so that means I don't have a family. Robbie immediately jumped up to deny it. No, that's not what I meant. His expression became awkward. Then he made a suggestion. Your name is Leah, right? If you can, do you want to study with me? Hearing this suggestion, Leah was stunned. Study, Robbie hurriedly said. You said no one ever introduced you to a teacher, right? The strongest weapon is knowledge. That's what Teacher Pallet said. You have to become smart to get revenge. Then he confessed without reservation. Actually, I'm trying to become smart so I can get revenge on my father. Since that's part of my plan anyway, I thought you could join. Leah really couldn't understand. Why do you want revenge? Robbie immediately explained. My dad keeps telling me to inherit the family business. It's kind of scary. Leah couldn't help but laugh, teasing, dummy, why would you want revenge for something like that? Being called that, Robbie was unhappy. What did you just call me? Dummy. When he saw Leah's innocent smile at that moment, it really made Robbie's heart skip a beat. Then he sat down and asked, so, are you coming or not? Leah stammered. Who said I'm not coming? Don't go back on your word, okay? Of course, you have to come every day. Leah quickly agreed. At that time, Robbie swore, I don't care if I look like an idiot or not. I will never let anyone bully you again. Lost in memories of the past, Leah's calls failed to rouse him. Robbie, what's wrong? Suddenly, Robbie stood up and denied it. You're wrong. This confused Leah. Huh? What do you mean? He sat down, hoping she would confess to him. Don't hide it anymore. You're upset because of that woman, right? Princess Shane. Leah was surprised that Robbie knew about Shane. Huh? How do you know about her? Then Robbie quickly questioned, that's not important. Why does your husband have a lover? What's going on? Leah clenched her hands and asked, who told you this? Robbie quickly replied, she told me herself. Recalling Shane's expression made Leah uncomfortable. That woman really. She scratched her head, denying everything. Huh, that's not true. That's just her side of the story. Now let's eat. But Robbie wouldn't listen, slamming his hand on the table. How can I eat now? Seeing Robbie so agitated, Leah couldn't understand him. He repeated angrily, it's been 10 years, the time we've been together. And me, for these 10 years, my heart has only been for you. But if you're happy, I think I should bless you and him, damn it. But that guy, he can't do this to you. How could he do this to you? Leah still didn't understand. Wait, Robbie, what are you talking about? Robbie trembled, wanting to confess everything. I didn't want to say it this way, in such a pathetic way. I was going to keep this secret forever. As soon as he finished speaking, he made a decision. So, let's go. Come with me to the southern continent. I already have a plan. Let's escape from the Marquis mansion together. Leah quickly stopped him. Robbie, calm down and listen to me. But he ignored her, grabbing Leah's hand and continuing. Even if he's the king of Fritain, he can't chase us to the southern continent. I'll protect you because I... But just then, Leah shouted loudly, as if to draw a line. Sir Robbie Stone. Robbie still wouldn't listen, continuing with because, his voice gradually lowering, and then he couldn't hold back any longer, tears streaming down his face as he released her hand. I'm sorry. Robbie helplessly confessed, I love you, Leah. Hearing this, Leah's heart ached. Watching him kneel on the ground, Leah didn't relent, but drew a line. Baron, even if you're my friend, you've crossed the line this time. If this happens again, I'll have no choice but to accuse you of insulting the Fritain royal family. I'm in no mood to eat anymore. If there's a chance, I hope we can meet again. Hearing these words, Robbie burst into tears, remembering playing with Leah in the past. Dummy, why would you want revenge for something like that? Then another scene. If you go to the academy, we can't be together anymore. And her smile. All right, let's dance together. And when they plan to elope, Robbie, shall we go to the southern continent? Let's run away from here together. But Leah just said, if there's a chance, I hope we can meet again. Hearing these words, Robbie's heart shattered, and tears streamed down his face uncontrollably. He could only cry out Leah's name repeatedly in his heart. Leah,